I heard that the YouTube or the Zoom bombings are happening more frequently again.
Huh.
A lot of meetings getting interrupted with
Oh,
spam.
they're finding a way to get around invites.
Remember we had that one occurrence
Yeah.
a couple years ago?
Oh, yeah.
That was awful.
No.
Yeah.
No, Helen used to get it all the time when she first did Zoom
Oh.
because she didn't do it. Now she invites. She has people
Yeah.
waiting, but for people who just get in.
Can't hear on YouTube.
Are we streaming?
Does live.
Really?
Let me refresh. Still says live.
You wouldn't know it. Well, let's record, Chris, and then worst case scenario, we can throw it up on YouTube after.
Oh, do you want me to go back?
Oh, we just need to adjust the volume. We put the volume down because.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to. Live stream. I'm re-recording.
I was thinking, I'm guessing what kind of phenomenal valley is Richard.
Yes, it is. Good afternoon, everybody. It is Wednesday, 21 January 2026. And this is a regular meeting of the Waterville Valley Select Board. I am Rich Reedy, the chair, and here with me today is Wendy Rathgeber, vice chair, and Dan Bancroft, select board member. Privilege of the floor. That is something that is not on the agenda. Okay. Approval of minutes. I apologize, Kristen. I got them to you this late a couple hours ago, but I only have one substantive change. It wasn't the adventure zone, it was the zoning and proposed zoning amendments. All the others were just clarifications, minor clarifications, so.
Mhm.
If
Yeah.
Wendy,
I'll
Dan, you
make a
good with it,
motion to
please?
approve the minutes from 12/17/25 with the recommended changes as put forth by
As amended.
Rich Rita. As
Second.
amended.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All righty, let's move on to new business. Okay, let's go to B. Budget request, Conservation Commission, Snowsbrook Silt Remediation Project. So just for the record, to set it up, the select board over the last few weeks has been going over the 2026 proposed budget to present at town meeting. And one of the aspects of that is to roll through the capital improvement plan. And that plan is actually managed by the planning board, which has a subcommittee or a committee of a capital improvement plan. Is it working group or committee?
Subcommittee.
Subcommittee that looks at the town's capital projects in terms of what they are and their timeline. Usually we have it run out, I don't know, 30 years, but we only really pay attention for the 5 or 6 years from the existing year. So as a result of their review, the planning board approved CIP for the select board's consideration. In our budget discussions, we considered it, and one of the projects that we decided not to move forward with, it was listed as a low priority in the capital improvement plan, was the Conservation Commission Snowsbrook Silt Remediation project. We informed the chair of this decision, and he asked that we reconsider that particular judgment. And so I asked him to come to today's meeting to discuss with us the project, so it's all out, and then the board can decide whether it wants to stay with its original decision to incorporate a warrant article for $41,000 to fund this project in this year, or not, I guess is the question. So I see Paul Ricardo is here, the chair of the Conservation Commission. Would you like to discuss?
Sure.
Talk to the board. Yeah, or Charles Hastings is here,
Something.
and Rebecca Hastings, in case
There you go.
anybody, for the record, for the minutes. Yes, Charles, hi,
Okay,
how are you?
first of all, I'd like to thank the select board for giving us the chance to speak. We can barely imagine the pressures you're under and the time constraints, and so we appreciate this. It is unfortunate that we have very little time, and you have very little time to readdress this. It's unfortunate that the capital improvements recommendation came in low. The time to discuss this would have been apparently months ago. I think that the commission could have made a compelling argument why this should be carried on for this coming year. Maps, diagrams, et cetera, I think would have been pretty persuasive. This is not the time to do that. So I'll just make a few comments and let Paul follow up as well.
Charles, just so you're aware, in case you weren't, I provided this
Okay,
in the
good.
packet for the board to review to
Good.
for the meeting.
Good, thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate that. So I've looked carefully, tried as best I could to understand what was described as the concept of, instead of doing this brook remediation project, of at least for the near future, trying sedimentation basins that I understood would be excavated on the east upriver side of Valley Road, somewhere in Snows Brook. I have Paul kindly provided me with a plan that was where the basins would have been dug into the pond. I just cannot see how this is a good plan. And I, for my part, recommend strongly that this not be the alternative. The
Okay,
problem-
if I can just
Sure.
interrupt there, just again for background so people understand. This project that you've come to talk to us about was actually authorized by the town at the 2022.
23, actually. It was proposed
23?
in 22 and acted on in 23.
Okay, well, the authorization was given by the town to allocate $50,000 of town money, along with $50,000 in a grant we were looking at to do some, what I call silt remediation, that is help mitigate the amount of silt that Snows Brook causes to come into Corcoran Pond. So that was the original idea, and it was loosely tied. I wouldn't put it any stronger than that. Loosely tied to our discussions, the select board's discussions, to dredge Corcoran Pond, which we do need to do, and for which we hired an engineering firm, Horizons, to come up with some options and costs and whatnot. The original plan, and that was over the last couple of years, with no silt remediation within Corcoran Pond, was about $2 million. I think the one option that we thought was the best option. We asked the engineers to go back and see if there was anything they could do to help us with the silt issue, because this may be the last time we could dredge the pond, because all the land around the pond is conceptually scheduled for development, so there'd be no place to put whatever's dredged out of the pond for storage for it to dry out, so that it can be trucked away. Trying to truck it when it's wet is a very expensive proposition. So the engineers came back with this idea of a sedimentation basin, capture bay, I don't know, can't remember what the correct words were.
Sedimentation basin.
A sedimentation basin, which would capture silt coming into the pond from Snows Brook, and that we could basically every year, would not, a lot of equipment, but simply we'd be able to get the silt out of it. So when the price tag with that was 4 million plus, and we said, time out. We're not gonna spend $4 million in that project. So that we have decided to re-engage on Corcoran Pond, and trying to get that project moving, because I think we all agree it needs to be dredged. So we still have faced with this issue of silt coming into the pond. In the meantime, this project was going along, so it was kind of loosely tied at the beginning as a way to help deal with the silt issue. Unfortunately, due to a variety of circumstances, there's no need to go over all of the reasons why. The project was never done within the period needed in order to satisfy legal requirement about spending the money. So of the first of all, the $50,000 grant fell away for, again, reasons we don't need to go into. So that left the $50,000 for the town. And then so far, the Conservation Commission, who has been heading up this project for the town, spent about $9,000 over the last, well, since 2023. So there was $41,000 that was not spent by the end of last year that got put into fund balance because of the expiration of the authorization. So that's kind of the background both on the issue and why we're looking at a $41,000 request. In other words, to continue the project that have been begun several years ago. And at this point, this select board said, wait, let's just put a hold on that because we've asked the engineers to go back and give us more on silt remediation. We're actually thinking that perhaps it could be something we can do, not in the pond, but on the other side of Valley Road. So our idea wasn't to shut it down, to stop it, to end it, but simply to pause it for this year until we get our feet on the ground with regard to the larger engineering project of dredging and capturing silt for Corcoran Pond. So sorry for that, but please go ahead. Hopefully that all hung together.
Understood. That's all.
Well said, Rich.
Well said.
Thank you.
The problem I have is I cannot see how the proposal or concept of these sedimentation basins on the upriver side of Valley Road would work. I've studied in great depth the maps, the LiDAR images. I've studied the map, the boundary line of how far our Greenbelt Lot 32 extends southward. And there is very little option to construct basins that would be of any significant size. I don't know how closely you've studied this, but in fact, the Conservation Commission actually hired Horizons to survey out the boundaries of this lot about a year ago, and we have the details on it. The only portion of the riverbed that falls neatly within our town boundaries is a little bit upstream, and it's kind of a loop the river makes there. And to get to that area, you'd actually have to cross the river. There are various logistical concerns as to why this could end up being a much more expensive and ineffective plan for capturing sediment. The reason why I think this is not the best approach is that the remediation project is designed to remove much of the sediment before it gets this far. If you look at the big picture of how Snows Brook comes down out of Lost Pass, out of that watershed, most of that is very steep. There are a number of tributaries. They're funneling down into the main brook. Most of it is too steep to lose sediment. It just comes gushing down. When it gets to the lower portion, most of that sediment normally would simply wash out where Corcoran Pond is. Corcoran Pond is the natural deposition point for all of that.
Right.
The pond is right where the sediment would normally have gone. There's a small section, maybe a kilometer, maybe less, of Snows Brook that is gentle enough that you could spill it out into the floodplain. Unfortunately, historically, since deforestation, the brook has been entrenching itself and it has difficulty escaping into its floodplain. The idea of Rick's remediation project was in a few spots to cut little gaps into the banks and to put some blockages. There aren't enough blockages. The brook is too free flowing. It just it's like a chute of muddy silt shooting down, and at last it slows down in Corcoran Pond. The idea is with some fairly inexpensive effort to divert some of it out into its floodplain. And there's some floodplain in the lower portion available for that if you make the cut. And most of that would spill out into our lot 32 greenbelt, which is mostly a wetland. And in fact, I have photographs from last year of the little streams that are above that gushing down. There's all kinds of silt piled up in the area there. It's quite scenic. But the idea would be to spill it out into there and let it settle there before it gets to the pond. By the time you get to where the sedimentation basins, if you could put them in there, it's almost too late.
Okay.
Most of it's going to go shooting right through.
Could I
into
just
the pond.
make a point, Charles? I don't think we're contesting
Yeah,
any of that. We don't know what the engineers are gonna come back and tell us about. I guess
and I
the
would
real
love to
question
know
in front
that.
of the board is why should we not pause the project that
Okay,
you folks have been working on until we can get a better picture of what the engineers
And-
may tell us about
and if
going
I could
forward.
address that, the
Okay,
reason
please.
why to pause, why not to pause it? But I don't know how long this opportunity will last. We have now in place a team that is well-trained, well-equipped to do this. We think at last we have all of the permissions established. We have hopefully the money that would simply get, whether the money is available or not, I don't know. But I don't know how long we can predict that to happen in the future. There are too many unknowns. This is not something that is a routine project. This is not a normal solution to floodplain problems. And so it's a novel, creative idea that should reduce the sediment. Rich asked me last week, how much would it reduce it? There's simply no way to know, and there's no way to compare, but it should reduce it some.
Just a couple of quick questions. First, can you describe for us what progress has been made over the last couple of years? And two, what would we be getting for the $41,000, if you will?
I, for one, cannot. I'm not sure I can answer what the 9,000 was spent on. I know a lot of that was spent on surveying, wandering up. It's very difficult terrain to wander up through that part of Snows Brook and establishing where different things would be done. I haven't seen the cost accounting for that. What would get done? And again, the full project, as Rich pointed out, was going to be 100,000. This is a much reduced portion that would focus on the lower part of Snows Brook only, I believe. It would not be as effective. I think it would be partially effective, and it involves, as I understand it, putting some dead wood into the brook. The brook naturally should have more wood in it, but because of deforestation, the young forest, there's not much there to block it. It's just a free-flowing stream. And there's one spot where he showed us a couple of years ago where they would make a little cut in the bank and a trench to allow the floodwaters to spill more directly into the greenbelt area.
You mentioned now having the appropriate approvals. And what are those approvals and from what organizations? are they
Really good
coming,
question, Dan.
if you will?
This is a complex problem. It involves the Forest Service, Fish and Game, the DES, and who knows how many other agencies, because this is not something, there is no template for how you do this kind of project. And I couldn't tell you what all got approved. There was something still missing apparently last year. I don't know how or why that happened. But as we understand it, and we're trying to confirm that. I think there's nothing left in terms of roadblocks, in terms of permission.
I would feel more comfortable.
What was missing last year was
Knowing.
the wetlands permit.
Ah,
We were
Thank
asked
you.
via the DPW to help assist with this project. I cannot dig on national forest land or in wetlands without a permit, and they did not have the wetlands permit at the time. So that is what they did not have last year.
Thanks, Megan.
Okay.
Okay, are there any other permits involved that we need to be aware of?
No, that's a different.
The US Forest Service pushed them out for small projects. It was supposed to make it into last year and it didn't. So it got pushed to this spring to be considered.
So it's still not finally approved by the Forest Service?
Okay, so we're waiting for Forest Service approval, and you said we have the wetlands approval?
I have not seen it, so I would
Okay.
assume you're still waiting on it.
Okay, so we're still waiting for a couple of approvals. Okay,
Wendy, did you have?
Yeah, if, once you have all the approvals, how long would it take for this process to be finished? Not for all the sediment to be,
Right, so the process is basically.
I'm sorry,
that,
Paul, would you
yeah.
mind the microphone, just so everyone?
So basically, the process is that once the approvals are going and everything is set, there will be a series of work that's done. One will include the replacement of 2 culverts, which Megan will be involved in. It says current culverts on the pond loop are undersized, so those will be taken care of. So that can probably be done once the approvals are done fairly quickly.
Could I just,
Sorry, yes.
why are the culverts part of this project?
Because as you adjust the floodplain, the culverts are going to need to be resized.
Okay,
Presently, they're undersized, so
And
as you
they're
adjust
located
this, there
where?
could be more.
yeah, where are they located?
They're on the pond loop trail.
Just north of the bridge, they're actually, 3.
Okay, I know what you're talking
Right.
about. So those, in order, for this project, they need to be replaced.
Correct.
Okay,
There
got it.
was actually scheduled to be actually 4 culverts to be replaced in the full project,
Mhm.
but these are the 2 critical ones.
Right.
Okay,
Okay.
so that's one piece that's important. Yeah, go ahead.
do we have the funding for those culverts?
Can he finish?
This
Yeah.
is part of the
This-
project.
This is part of
This
it.
is part of the 41,000 in there. So the other work is obviously very weather dependent, because in order to get in there, it has to be dry or relatively dry so that the work can be, done safely and without making a huge mess, or whatever you want to say. So it would probably be more like in the August timeframe. We won't know the exact timeframe, like the exact calendar, but it would be a bit weather dependent, and want to do it when the water table is at it's one of its lower levels.
Sure,
Okay, so,
but then how long would it take to put all the trees?
Right, so the
everything
idea,
together?
as it was getting ready to go, it basically almost started. It was almost like a false start. This past fall, which would have been an ideal time to have done it because of the dryness that we were experiencing. That was really a missed opportunity there. But the point is that it would be done during the drier time, and it would involve labor that Rick has hired. In the last year's approach was to hire staff that was perhaps working at the resort, that wasn't busy, that needed utilization, things like that. So he had hired a couple of laborers to work on this project with him. So Rick will be overseeing the work
Right.
himself, will be on site while the work is happening. I would guess it's probably, I don't want to, without having Rick here, maybe I would guess several weeks of work to do this, I would gather, depending on how much wood is readily available to put into these channels and to make that turbulence and move that.
so you see the project being finished this year? if
The
you
project should be finished by the end of the fall, absolutely.
If you get the,
get The funding.
the-
Correct.
or the appropriate permission. as
Correct.
well.
That's what we need to, let me just come back to the culverts. If this project were not going forward, do those culverts need to be replaced?
So they probably wouldn't get replaced. I don't know what condition they're in. You were out there with us, Megan. We looked at it
Yeah.
last
two-
summer.
2 out of the 4 are in pretty rough shape. I don't remember which 2 it is that you are referring to that need to be upsized, that are critical, so I can't speak to those 2 in particular. But I do remember 2 being in very poor shape and 2 being in fairly okay shape.
Right.
The 41,000 would not include replacement of those culverts, or would it?
It would,
It does.
No, it does.
it does.
That's what I was trying to understand, if they needed to be replaced anyway. But what I'm hearing is,
Seems like a
No.
pretty cheap cost.
well, if they need to be replaced, that's the
Yeah.
question, that's I was trying to get at that. Let me look at the angle, the time aspect, follow up on Wendy's question. If I remember correctly, the spring small project, Forest Service small projects decision is usually handed down in April,
Yeah, applications are in February. and
Right.
Usually it's April. Yeah.
right? And so do you have an application in, or is that
Yes, I mean, it's the application, as far as I understand, it was pushed, right? Like it was pushed to the spring.
I'm totally ignorant of that. Use a better.
Chief
The
Noyes,
the last meeting I attended in front of the Forest Services, it was submitted, but it was submitted too late to be considered for the fall. And it was pushed to the spring.
Right, and that was the
But
problem
the
with
current
them.
status, I
Right.
would say.
Right.
Rick would know best.
All right, whether you need to resubmit it or whether the old,
Or they just carry, or
They just-
they're carried over.
yeah, they just carry it over. So, Steve, do we have a feel for when we get some sort of report from Horizons as to where we're gonna go with silt remediation as part of the dredging project?
I think Bill might be able to give us an update on that when he gets in. He had a conversation with Andrew not too long ago. The status escapes me right now, but Bill was working with them on that.
May I ask, beyond the silt remediation, has Rick said anything about improving the health of the brook by doing this process?
Yes, okay, so presently in the current situation, there's a lot of slope stabilization that's going on because the water is constantly flowing through there and eroding and scouring out the brook bed.
Mhm.
So the idea is to kind of slow down that slope stabilization by essentially slowing down the water and its destructive properties as it comes through there.
Mhm.
So there is a huge benefit to trying to reconnect or recapture the natural floodplain that's in the area. So that's like the whole objective. The sedimentation basins, man-made sedimentation basins aren't going to do any of that. There are also some ancillary effects or some benefits that are not being kind of thought of here too, as it pertains to the health, but also to the health of a property that is downstream there, the Waterville Place area. So as that bank becomes, as that slope stabilization continues, that puts the Waterville Place condos at further risk of flooding.
Sure.
So this is a project that they also support as part of this. And the idea is just to get that sedimentation to the east side of that bank. So that's really the goal here. So the health is improved because you're actually naturally reclaiming that floodplain. So the health of the stream, it is, I believe, still a first order stream. Is that? I mean, it continually runs.
so.
Yeah.
So,
So Rick has been up all the way to near where the source is.
Sure.
And, he's very concerned about that steepness, that grade as that water comes through. So the classical engineering solution, such as the sedimentation basins, it will collect sediment, but it's like not really solving the dredging problem because you're going to have to dredge the sedimentation basins. You're going to have to haul those out. So that's fine, but it's also, you could view that as kind of a complementary solution. If the engineering firm wants to go forward and the select board wants to go forward with that, the two projects aren't, one doesn't presuppose the other. They can
Right.
both work.
No, as
together.
I said, there was a loose connection at the
Right,
beginning.
so the idea is to reduce the overall cost of the town, I think. I think that's one of the primary objectives, and we think that the investment in this project here that's very sort of context sensitive and in like a bioengineering type solution here, novel solution, would help with that.
Yeah, I think what I was wondering about is the aquatic life itself, because the substrate must be buried in silt a bit more than it should be as well, making it difficult for like the invertebrates and whatnot to live in there, right? Had you touched on?
Yeah,
that?
we haven't really
Is that
talked about that
aspect?
aspect of
Okay.
it as much as there's kind of more the floodplain aspects and recapturing that,
Okay.
the natural aspect, but that's a good point too. I'm certain that Rick would probably have some feedback on that. And I'd be happy to consult with him and ask him what he thinks about that as well.
Just looking at it globally,
Yeah.
all of
Yeah,
Yeah, all the other aspects.
no, that's a very good point. So yeah, the other benefit I would just say is, this engagement of the Forest Service is quite a big deal and getting all of these
Mhm.
entities on board with this project, including the select board. And I think that, it's the Forest Service there's a lot of work for them to do in this area and other jurisdictions and also probably in Waterville Valley. So engaging them has a lot of benefits, for them to see that there are downstream effects to a lot of these natural resources. So
Beyond, what you're arguing basically is that it's not so much just a matter of silt remediation. There are other
benefits that we
Benefits
can gather from this project
from
that
the
can be used to solve other problems in town as well. So I think it's a very nice context sensitive sort of approach here. And we, go ahead, that's,
The original project was slated to be about $100,000, and this is a quote unquote scaled down version thereof. What are we losing?
yeah, so the original project was, we were hoping for that grant. So there were a number of entities that had to come together, Army Corps of Engineers and some other folks that looked at the project. We did a site visit, and unfortunately, for the Army Corps of Engineers, this was just not a project type that they typically supported. That was kind of the hang up there. And so unfortunately, without their support, we could not get the grant. So as we scaled down the project, it's just less tributaries that are going to be treated with get this treatment. So there's less secondary channels essentially. So we're still addressing the main channel, the main problem, but ideally we would want to deal with those secondary channels at some point, perhaps through, I think, Steve, you had told us a little bit about an ongoing maintenance type program that you're considering in the future with some funding and so on. And this could be something, if this project turns out to be successful and and seems to be doing what it's supposed to be doing, these are areas that we could possibly revisit that we didn't get to do the first time. And also the treatment that we're going to do here, I asked Rick about this, and it's about a 10-year, you could expect about a 10-year life out of this type of treatment before the wood breaks down, before these natural features start to break down, and you have to kind of supplement the treatment, the initial treatment that you did. So I guess from my point of view, I think this is a innovative and sort of interesting project that's kind of a good pilot and solves the problem, hopefully solves the problem, or at least partially solves it in a very cost-effective manner. So we're hoping that we can get you to support this and maybe get this out of the terminology is the fund.
Out of
fund balance.
Fund balance and
Right.
back into whatever it needs to be, operational.
Again, could you just very directly, why is a pause so damaging?
So a pause is damaging because there's been a lot of legwork that's been done over the last couple of years. I know we've had some unfortunate setbacks over this period. But getting this group together and getting the cooperative spirit together and moving forward together, is a sizable effort. And to put a pause on that, there's not any guarantee that we can replicate that success again. And it would be basically throwing out all of the work that we've done already on this. And I did send an email to Rick to ask him if a pause was even, to address this question with him and what he thought of that idea. He hasn't got back to me yet, but certainly
Hasn't
I
that
think
been the issue though, Paul?
the issue of
Rick,
Communications.
communications, I mean, isn't that kind of a big reason, not the only reason why we are where we are today on this?
I can't really address that myself because I kind of inherited this from Irit. Irit was the person who started kind of the process at the beginning. With Rick, since taking over his chair, I have been I've been in communication with Rick. My communication with Rick has been very positive over the last year or so. And so I think there have been some administrative slip-ups from time to time, from what I understand, and we would have been nice to get that certainly onto the small projects list as planned. But I'd like to say that I'm pretty certain that we're almost there, and that if we can get onto that spring small projects list, we should be good to go. But
So Paul, are we on the project list? Do we know that for sure?
We don't.
but according to Rick, things are ready to go. He just needs to submit. That's
Okay,
it.
all right.
That is what he has relayed to me.
And do you know, or Dave, do you know if we get this project on this year and it gets approved in April, do they put any time constraints upon us to get that project done?
I'm not familiar with
Right.
familiar with the project.
And does the project have to have committed funding would be, I think, the question you're really getting at, right?
Yeah,
For it to be approved.
From the part of it that I do know, there is a time frame for funding that makes the project imperative within the next year.
Okay,
And from what I've been telling, there's a deadline for the grant money. So you gotta have your projects and show substantial completion, that sort of thing. So, but I don't know the details.
With respect to the culvert replacements. How long would that take from a scheduling perspective, and how does that fit within the scheduling of all the other projects and so forth that are taking place that you're involved in, Megan?
who is doing the culvert replacement?
Well, I don't
Maybe
know.
the-
That's a good
So-
question.
the
Who
person-
does that?
Yeah,
Do we
I
do that?
Not touch them without a
Okay.
wetlands permit.
The culverts can't be touched without. the
right, but it will
wetlands.
be town staff doing the replacement?
We could, yes.
What is the project call for in terms of culvert replacement now? Town staff to do
Town
it?
staff, yes.
Town staff to do it?
I'm a little, on the wetlands permit, I recall like just before the project was supposed to start, the false start, I would call it. I believe there was a wetlands permit in place that was getting passed around at the time to Mark as well, to sign off on. But, I'd have to verify that that's what that paperwork was. But I think that is in place, if I'm not mistaken, and I will certainly find that out.
How much of the project cost is related to the culvert replacement?
I have none of this info. The only info that I have was when I was asked to help with the project, and I found out what was wanting to be done.
So how do we know that?
We could ask Rick how what his breakout is. I mean, I guess with Rick being basically a one-man show, it's sort of like
Yeah,
he just
my
packages it all
Yeah.
up into one cost,
It's
so.
us.
Yeah, so I mean, I could ask him what his breakout is on the culvert.
At the time, I don't know where the project is at and what would happen with this scaled back version. But at the time, what was being asked of DPW, we would need a very substantial piece of equipment to go in and do what the work that they were proposing.
So you would have to lease that,
We would rent it.
rent it, lease it, yeah.
Lease means we own it and we're paying on it.
Okay,
And-
okay, that's fine, rent it, that's fine.
So,
yeah, so I wonder who, if basically you're saying you don't know what the cost is.
I do not know this.
So how was the cost for just the culvert replacement calculated?
So it sounds like we just need assurances from Rick
See,
that we're still within the
exactly.
budget of the 40.
Yes.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, The
yeah,
budget isn't adding up to me to do these culvert replacements because of the issues
Expense.
we've discussed and the expense.
Yeah, well, the
and
expense
And the
we've seen with
labor
culvert.
and the time and everything else.
But to my
And
mind,
so I'm trying to reconcile that in my brain.
yeah, to my mind, the project makes sense, but I think we just need to know that it's ready to move forward in that budget and within time frame.
Yes,
And,
right.
and that Rick will be,
I'd be happy to get
Yeah.
to give you the information on the culvert breakout from, based on Rick's calculation and see
Well,
what he's thinking.
I think the whole I mean, is 41,000 still
Yeah.
enough? I mean, culverts are a part of it. When was the last time the cost of this was actually calculated?
I think 2021, right?
No, it was like within the last few months, really, because he was ready
Okay.
to start. We were ready to
Okay.
go. We were like,
Right.
we had actually signed some documents at that time, at that Conservation Commission meeting that he was last at, which was probably in August or September. It was one of those months, and he was ready to go, and that was it.
Was this,
I asked him at that meeting, Rick, will this scale down version, which involves doing much less and mainly in the lower portion,
Mhm.
will that still be a significant factor in reducing sediment? He said, yes. But I didn't get the details on where exactly he's going to work and not work
Right.
with Snows Brook.
so no contract, what's the contract at the moment?
The contract is, basically on hold at this point. We don't.
I mean, what, do you have a signed contract with Rick? I mean, that details, timing, cost for this, that, the other
I
thing?
mean, we have a scope and everything. Yeah, I mean, we have some, I don't know about the signed contract exactly. We'd have to look with, some of the old paperwork from back.
It wasn't done.
Yes, I wasn't.
That's what I was
wasn't
looking
on
at.
it, but Yeah, we
should
can,
review that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it seems to me, sense I'm getting from the board is that we're positively inclined. I mean, the project makes a lot of sense, but we're raising concerns about cost. And there's a timing issue involved here as well. Our warrants have to go forward by the 3rd of
Actually,
February.
23rd. I just checked the calendar.
I'm sorry, 23rd of February,
Yeah.
right? It's 2 weeks before.
Correct.
So we have some time. Before we decide whether or not we would support including a warrant. On an article on the 2026 warrant. I think we still want to find out what our engineering firm is saying. I mean, I don't even know if they're aware of what they're aware of when they were telling us what we needed with regard to this project, what we needed for silt sediment in the basins, right? Did they, was that part of the, what you guys were doing, was that part of the calculation? Where they came up, or was it completely off, not a consideration whatsoever?
Sorry, the amount of quantity or to store?
No, so what I'm
sediment?
saying is when they gave us a plan, an engineering plan that included this silt basin, collection basin, again, I don't know the technical, right? Did it take into account the project that the Conservation Commission was working on? In other words, was it meant to be in addition to, or did it just disregard it completely?
I suspect it disregarded it. but
I
it's good to have
suspected-
that
I would think,
answer.
yeah, I don't think they would even know
Right,
about that.
so I
Good
mean,
answer,
right.
though.
Yeah, but it would be nice to know what, with this out there hovering, so to speak, I'd like to hear what they have to say about it,
Not to complicate things further,
but please do.
one of the hangups on the dredging project, not necessarily a hangup, but one of the considerations I think we all want to take into perspective is the potential use of that silt or the actual sediment on the landfill.
Right,
Help support the
Right.
remediation of that project
Right.
too.
but
So
that's gonna require state approval to use whatever we collect from the pond, and that's down, pardon the pun, that's downstream before we get any idea of what they're gonna say about it.
yeah,
I'm sure they're gonna want sampling and all of that before they
I think that's
Give it-
on the agenda. We submitted the closure plan on the
Right,
14th
right.
of this month, so.
give us a green light on
Yeah.
using that to help cut costs for that project.
Okay,
So I don't know, I'm thinking we have some time.
yeah, I have just a couple of other points. One, I would like to get a good estimate for the culvert replacement, just if you can put that together for us somehow. So that we would understand if the town and town personnel are going to be doing this, I think we need to get an estimate for what that's going to involve with respect to schedule and cost. And timing within respect to other projects. So I don't think you have that information right now, Megan, so.
I do not, do you want me to draft something up to? give to
Well,
the
I-
board?
I think something would be helpful if we had a
Right.
clue. I don't wanna
Right.
dig everything
Okay,
up and
so-
find out it's costing.
Well, I'd like to see the whole thing,
$100,000,
not
right?
just the
Yeah.
culverts. I think we'd like
Yeah.
to see a
Well, that's-
breakdown.
Sure,
That's
that-
one,
I
The
think that's
41,000
Right.
is still
Maybe
the,
I'm
right,
happy
number.
to draft, but the cost would be on my part.
Yeah, no,
to
and
be
provide it to-
compared
right.
to
Right.
what
right,
they were estimating.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right, that's basically what I'm asking for. The other question I have for you is. Let's say that we figure out that. It's gonna cost a little more than earlier anticipated with respect to replacing these culverts. Is there, I'm assuming there's still benefit to doing this project without replacing those culverts. And the question is if so, when would it be critical that we replace those culverts? Obviously, it would be beneficial to have that done in conjunction with this project. From what
Yep.
your statements are. But the fact is, there are practical matters that may preclude that from happening in this coming
Right.
year.
Right, so certainly I think, I don't know the details of
So,
exactly like what the, like. What, it's really impossible to know because this is essentially based on what the weather wants to do, right? And how much, what the severity of any storm that comes through, that's what's really gonna dictate ultimately what happens and how much sediment flows or whatever it might be for this particular year. But yeah, I mean, I think the best option here is to get an itemized breakout to you from Rick. Rick is happy to present to you as well, if that's helpful. If you would like him to do that, he's happy to attend the meeting. He could come to your meeting. He could come to a Conservation Commission meeting. And we can get that line by line breakout of each project component. As I'm sure he's thought about it because that is the basis for the estimate. So,
I believe that you
Mhm.
should have that information, to be honest with you.
okay,
So
well,
in coming to this meeting, I'm a little surprised that you're lacking so much information and relying upon somebody to provide something that, you don't have the information that you should have, if you will.
well, I
That's
mean,
a
he's
little
just, it's a one,
Some,
this is a one-man show that he's operating here. So I mean, he gives us an estimate for what the project is gonna cost. He didn't
Right.
give us an itemized breakout of each line item.
Right.
I'm sure he can provide that. So I'm happy to get that for you
okay,
and I will get that for you. It's, that's no problem.
and certainly I don't know about my colleagues here, but having him brief before us would be probably beneficial.
Sure. He's happy to do that.
I think this is an opportunity, since the funding has essentially lapsed. You have until, or the board has until February 23rd to decide whether and how much it wants to put forward for this project. This is an opportunity to go back and look at the project and confirm or reconfirm the costs and the scope and present that to the board for approval. I think these are natural, we're only asking questions that you're going to get or we would get at town meeting.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
No, we're
you
not
know.
arguing that we should have that
So,
information.
This is an opportunity to re-engage on all of that with the new timeline of whatever the April date is, what you have to have for the Forest
Mhm.
Service. Would be, I think, an important thing to.
Yep.
To have as well, and then, we can talk about, you can present it to the select board, and then we can decide. If we would support the project going forward, this year. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Sure. Well, I'll get to work on those items for you and I'll
Okay.
talk to Rick and I'll have him, Rich, you and I can work together to
Yeah, no,
schedule
we
a
can do anything
meeting for when it's
to
appropriate for
help.
Rick to present.
Our next regular meeting is on the 4th
Okay.
of February, so
Okay.
We
Two-
might need to do it before then, if,
it's the 23rd, not the 3rd.
right, but they have to submit to the small projects for in February.
Yeah, that's what I said, you have to check that
Right.
date, see
Check
what
that
that
date,
date is,
exactly.
and whether
Mhm.
you can submit it, but not necessarily have the
Right.
funding. Because the funding's still gonna be dependent upon town meeting
Oh,
anyway,
yes.
so you still have to have that out, if you would, in anything you
Yeah.
tell the, but they should be used to that.
Yep.
And dealing with.
And I'll make
the
sure
town.
Rick addresses your question, Wendy, about
Okay.
the
The health of the stream.
the life of
Yeah,
the other life forms that might be present there.
So we
Yep.
have, as I said, 2 more meetings before the 23rd, which is sort of the fish and cup bait or cup bait lines. The first one is on the 4th of February. And the one after that, if I get it correctly, is 18. Is that correct? Steve, can you confirm? Is
but I
somebody-
would think we'd want to push for the 4th, the 18th.
Yeah,
Cutting
yeah.
it close if we're actually.
If we have to
No,
make
we'll
it,
we'll shoot for we're looking to shoot for the
right.
earliest date
So,
possible.
yeah, those would be the 2 to work toward without having to schedule a special meeting on this. It's just that on the 18th, certainly we have, we could make a decision on that day, but if you present it in the 4th and we have more questions, it gives them
Exactly.
time to come back
Right.
to us before we have to, by state law, post the warrant articles.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to
No,
come
not a
before you
problem.
today.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Don't take my questions as being against this.
No,
I'm
no,
trying to
I mean, I wish I
understand
could, I wish I had all the answers to everything you asked, particularly with the budget, but we'll get them answered.
All right, great.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
Paul.
you.
Thank you, Charles. All right, so let's go back to the, actually, what was the first item, new business, I see Craig is here, so the new shuttle stop tubing. So without select board discussion or approval, there was a bus stop put on a town right-of-way road,
Two
so.
private companies got together to try to fix a problem which we've been asking about for 10 years.
Yeah.
and that's all it is.
Okay, but it isn't all that it is because the town has a voice in it. But the
It's in
town
our-
has a voice and for a couple of reasons, Craig.
Well, I've been here for 10 years to ask you about. traffic,
And we've been very
shuttle
supportive.
Buses and everything.
Right.
And the only thing that seems to happen is if Tim and I get together and see
Right.
if we can solve some problems ourselves, because you won't solve.
All right, and that is going to stop, right? Far as I'm
We've
concerned,
already stopped it. We're not doing anything.
well, we said, come to the meeting and tell us what the plan is.
I came to the meeting a couple.
Are we
weeks
done
ago.
discussing then? I mean, what is it you want, I
I
guess?
don't want
Craig?
anything. It's two private companies that are trying to solve an issue. Because there's really too many hockey teams in here.
I'm talking about just the bus stop. It wasn't run by DPS. It wasn't run by the select board.
It's private
It's
property.
a stop on the town road. The select board is part of the contract for the use of that shuttle. So
I
we
pay
have a
for that.
say in what, well, we make the decision for the town, not you. So what is it you want, Craig? I'm not, I'm just trying,
Solve the hockey issue.
well, we're not here to solve the hockey issue. I'm here to
That's what the
talk.
problem is. That's the problem. You're the landlord. You're my agent as a landlord of that rent.
You're not giving me anything to work with, Craig. I'm trying to find out what it is that you
We'd
would
like
like.
to, we'd like to, first of all, the previous stop is a four-way corner. Where cars are coming four-way different ways. The buses are pulling out, one goes left, one goes right. It's very complicated.
Mhm.
They didn't even mention the word on the sign used to say Moose Run, which I can tell you that nobody understands what. Moose
Right, it was
Run is.
changed. Right, we supported that.
There is no
change.
sign there today, so,
There
There
is.
there is. I just
There
drove
is. It
by
says golf.
so we're just
Golf
put up a
clubhouse.
tubing sign that we thought we're gonna try it and see how it works. And so far, we've had, Christmas week, we had MLK weekend. We really haven't seen anybody using the shuttle buses because we don't have the cooperation from the rink, basically, or the town to actually promote this. But that's all we did.
Now, is John Fontes aware of the
John Fontes has not been in
bus stop
town
down there? Just,
in 3 years.
excuse me, I'm asking somebody else a question. Is he's aware that there's a bus stop now down by the tubing?
Well, there has been a
What?
bus
Tell
stop
people.
all along.
There is a bus
There is a
stop.
bus
Well,
stop.
I know
I
that's
don't-
labeled as such.
I don't know if he's aware of this new, I haven't
Yeah.
spoken to him
But-
about this stop.
Okay, the question is whether or not people are making an attempt to take a bus to go down there. There was some original issue where it was what, red bus and green bus?
Yeah, there are two lines.
Two different lines,
Two
one
different
didn't
lines.
stop there.
Mhm.
I think the
How does the
one
hockey
stop
academy fit
that's
in?
on the very corner, I guess the
Lost Pass.
the
Lost
one,
Pass,
yeah,
is
the
that
Lost
right?
Pass one, the bus wasn't actually on that route, it doesn't actually get
The-
them there from.
That's the green
town
line
square.
stop. The red line stop, there is no red line stop there.
Can I just
Yeah, go ahead.
make a comment? I think the fundamental issue that's before the board right now is the fact that we just had a trolley stop put up without any
Yeah,
Yeah.
communication
Yes,
to the board, right?
exactly.
Right,
And I
That
don't,
is the issue.
in my tenure here, I don't remember I don't remember if I've ever had a trolley stop or a bus stop be added to the resort schedule. I don't know if any of you can recall, but I'm not even 100% certain of what the actual process would be for a business owner or a property owner to get another stop added to the schedule. So personally, I think maybe we need to kind of have a little conversation about the process. I think a good step forward is having Craig here today to present the need
Mhm.
to the board and the rationale behind why they feel a stop is
Mhm.
could be beneficial to the town and to the folks that use the shuttle. But I don't know, I need a little bit of a baseline discussion, I think would be helpful.
Mhm. That's what we're trying to do, and you just
Yeah.
outlined the baseline discussion that I was looking for. Yes, Megan.
I have a question. Is this a new stop? or
Yes.
is this
Yes.
Stop just.
It's a new stop.
The new stop. The original stop is still there and this stop is about 100 feet down the road from it.
In our parking area.
In the
In the
parking area,
roadway.
that, right,
Yes, in the municipal parking area, yes.
yes.
yeah,
I
the-
need to know how to maintain that section. I mean, we keep it open for parking, but it would be handled differently if it becomes a bus stop. That's my only concern.
Well, and there are other issues with related to bus
Public
stop.
safety.
Chief Noyes on safety, do you have any comments on this?
So historically, maybe none of you were around, but bus stops were a very heated debate in the past, going back 15, 20 years ago.
Mhm.
They were, very much regulated, very much discussed between the resort and the town of where they could be and where they can't be.
Mhm.
And if you notice, there's little green and white signs, no stopping per selectman, used to be up
Mhm.
years ago. That was a product of those discussions because people were waiting in places that the town did not want them to be waiting on the roads. The Board of Selectmen controls all public ways within the town of Waterville Valley, which includes standing and stopping and anything on a public way. So you have the authority to dictate where these can and cannot be. Okay, it's certainly an open discussion. It always used to be a discussion with the resort. They would express their needs.
Yeah.
The board would consider it and either allow them or discuss to move certain ones in certain places. The reason why you don't see a bus stop on every single driveway of every condominium, because historically the board does not want
Mhm.
buses stopping every 50 feet on the road. They wanted everyone to congregate in certain areas and make those stops. So hopefully with a little bit of that background,
Yeah,
Yeah,
how historically it's happened, in these places. We've never had a circumstance where they just pop up, but it's always been some sort of dialogue.
why doesn't the current stop work?
First of all, it's not connected really, and it's in a bad spot.
Could you explain that a little bit? What do you mean by not connected?
Four-way intersection.
Which number is that?
I mean, in my life, it's this, none of this is a big deal.
It-
You know,
Well,
I asked for help to take
26.
down 7 trees and you basically said no. So I figured, what the hell, you know, maybe I'm on my own, I guess. So, we're just trying to solve the problem and see how it would work, see how it's a temporary sign, it's not even in the ground. We're just seeing what will happen, if it maybe will work a little better. That's all we're doing. It's two businesses getting together to try to solve what I consider a bigger problem, but at the same time, we're just trying to see what's going on. You know, we would prefer to have cooperation from the rink, but we actually get nothing. There's nobody over there that pays attention to us one bit at all. And I've gone to resort association meetings and they didn't seem to help either over the years. So we're just taking it amongst ourselves to kind of see what works and what doesn't work. I control the tubing hill and the resort association controls the bus.
and the
No.
town controls the road.
Right,
Right.
and
We're just left out of the discussion,
and
so
the
that's
town
where-
also
Well,
controls the bus
you could
stops.
have come to us too and suggested something, but I didn't hear that ever. So that's all it is.
Yeah, I think
So-
the issue
Okay.
is safety, because I did hear a report of someone who witnessed an individual almost be struck over last weekend with the congestion of the cars, and I guess I'm a bit
That wasn't
confused
the
as well.
buses, it was.
It doesn't matter. They said a bus was pulled in there and someone was trying to
Yeah.
navigate around to get to their car. So I think that the location is problematic in my mind, just because there is municipal parking along that stretch at your
Right.
request.
Yeah, I
And-
prefer, if we're gonna have pick and choose, obviously the parking is huge. And I appreciate the parking. I appreciate it getting plowed. I appreciate the signs. I was late to come back maybe in the fall now that we have a substantial amount of parking is maybe pay to landscape it a little bit. We have added parkings, right, this year alone, I've added 5 more parking spots in the area that we have already, so we're pushing the parking as much as we physically can.
I think a little bit of a surprise too, Craig, is that, at least in my mind, I thought the plan was for you to open up the ticketing for the tubing.
Yes,
And,
we're still.
and that's where the tubing stopped,
Yeah.
I think is what I thought is where you wanted it.
Right, and I asked we had a discussion with your planners, at least with Mark, about road cuts, and one of them was denied. And that would have added, like, I was gonna put in like 50 or 60 parking spots.
Yeah, but just
So now that
the
there's no
bus-
parking down there was talk with Mark and I about parking down that area.
Yeah.
Incorporating parking with the boulder path, But since I don't have seen the plans yet, I've been asking to see those plans. And my understanding is one of our road cuts for a parking lot has been denied. For the engineer, I guess. As far as parking and Vista parking along that road for summertime Vista parking and wintertime tubing parking, that's not on the plan any longer. So some of it is dictated by what you guys are doing. I mean, I'm just reacting to what you're
Right,
doing.
well, I'm trying to find out, I mean, I thought the plan was to put I'm not talking about parking, I'm just talking
You have
about,
to have parking in order to have a business.
well, I'm talking about the tubing stop. I thought the
need-
plan was to put a bus stop.
If
We
moved
talked
the
about
tubing down
the,
there and we had 100 parking spots down there, yes. That's part of the whole thing.
right, but those taking the
the
buses don't need the parking.
But you've taken away, or what I thought was we were gonna put about 100 parking spots down there. And that's all gone.
I don't
Mark and I talked about.
recall any
extending
of that.
And about moving the side, one of the reasons to move the sidewalk on the east side, when I've gone to a meetings, and I said I prefer the sidewalk on the east side because of parking. And boom, it's right on the west side.
Well, we
I asked
discussed
for a
that at
road
length
cut
for a
and it was
reason.
denied a road cut. I told,
Well, Craig, there was considerable
telling you what's going
discussion.
on.
Well, no, but I think you're painting a very one-sided picture. We worked very hard with you to have that building, the rebuilding of that
Yes,
road, and you
they
were
said
involved in all of this, and
I need parking.
we helped. I think we went a long way of doing some of the things that you wanted to do.
I don't.
I'm
think
not
any
talking about-
complaints about it.
We're not complaining, but nowhere in this discussion, and I don't want to get sidetracked with this, was that parking was critical. We can come back to that another day. We're still reviewing those plans. I'm just trying to get a feel for the tubing stop right now.
Do whatever you want. I'd like to see it operate for the winter to see how it operates. And then make a decision after that. It's literally a portable sign.
Right.
I mean.
But it's gonna move.
Huh?
It's, the plan is to move it once you have the ticketing at the other, to have a tubing stop there. Well, what's your plan when ticketing? I guess is what I'm asking.
Well, it's kind of up in the air because we have to have everything in order. So you can't just open up a ticket window and expect people to walk up to it. You need to have some serious parking.
Well, there's parking along the parking
You're talking
on
about down on the
Valley.
hill.
No, well, there's parking in your parking area. You've got parking
We
spots
literally
there.
will do 500 to 600 people on a weekend.
Right.
We actually were up 20% this weekend.
Okay, so why, again, I come back to my question. What's wrong with the bus stop you do have, which is at the
Nobody
corner?
used it.
Well, then why would they use another
No,
one?
sometimes you have to try, I guess.
The-
I'm trying.
Well, did you talk?
You're
to
not
them?
trying.
Well-
Did you talk to the resort about changing the name of the one that's on the corner
Like
there?
3 years in a
Tubing?
row.
So instead of changing the name, they preferred to add one?
I don't know. We just talked about it and I said, and they said, why don't we do another one and do a temporary one? I said, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean, it took about 2 seconds.
What if
Yeah.
town staff
No.
and the two entities had a,
I think at
It's
this
like the
point.
food trucks. I mean, you know,
All right, Craig, we have it. There's a stop there. I mean, I can see where it could be renamed again. It was renamed, right? It said Moose Run and we agreed and did talk to the resort, if I recall correctly, about changing it to, I think it says Clubhouse now.
Right.
So given the safety concerns I have, given the concerns I have about,
I mean,
I did.
and he said it was unsafe? I didn't hear
No,
that.
I didn't hear that either.
What I would prefer is if there was to be a bus stop there, there is a buffer. Where
Yes.
there is a section of no parking
Yes,
in that section, so there can't be any intermingling of pedestrians and parked vehicles
right.
being so close to the road there. So I would ask that there be, a 25-foot drop-off area for that stop. You'd have to give up,
Right.
a couple parking.
2-3
spots in order-
spots,
in
right,
order
and
to do
but that defeats what we were trying to help you with.
Parking spots are more valuable to me.
Okay,
That's
so
fine.
well, then I think we have where we're going, at least for the time being, which is to remove it from where it is. Or add that, so if they want to keep it on the red route, we still have to approve that as well, because it's in the contract that we agree to every stop we have to agree with every stop that is in the shuttle schedule. So I think we could agree, if you want to move it, so it's both red and green at
I
the
mean,
corner.
Corner, you're saying?
Well, you have one there already. If you just want to make it red and green,
Well, I mean, it's literally on a cement block. I mean, it can be moved in 10 seconds. We did not put a permanent sign up.
Chief,
We're
would you be
just trying
fine
to operate.
with the,
I
Yes, we
would,
can.
I don't disagree with him that, that one on the corner of the four-way
Mm-hmm.
stop can be problematic.
right?
But I don't think having two of them there, I think one or the other,
The problem is they're two different lines,
correct.
right?
Mhm.
So it could be just one, but it could be like green, red, couldn't it? I'm not trying to add more
I'm sure
signs.
There's, several other stops where that probably
Right.
happens.
I mean, do you, you're not arguing, or you're not saying that we should even revisit that sign that's there now at that four-way?
If the complaint is that it's either being underutilized or it is a safety issue, then I would wanna relook at that. I don't think having two bus stops within 100 feet of each other makes any sense.
Right,
You know, if we can pick one that is the one that's the most utilized and most safest one, I would go with one over the other.
and not have them double up for both for
Yeah.
both buses, both lines to stop there at one
Both
stop?
buses come out of town square that, on that
Right.
road, right?
Yeah,
Right,
One goes and
they just,
So does
yeah,
the bus
All we're
then go
looking
up
for-
that hill,
all we're looking for is
up
from a
Lost Pecks?
somebody to get from the town rink across the street.
Street,
right.
that's
I
right.
know, and
And it's not
it
happening.
is frustrating,
And-
I get that.
So the red line just has
And-
to stop there.
And where
And you have
this
different
added
people every
stop
single
is, the
weekend.
bus turns,
Yeah.
and
Here,
there's a place to drop people off or
Yeah.
pick them up.
There is already a stop right
Right.
there, that's what we're
But
saying.
no, on that corner, the bus actually has to turn the other way almost, right?
I think the
Because
four-way
it's not
corner
straight
is
across.
very
They
problematic.
both do it the same. They both, one actually comes down Valley and one makes a left off the village onto Valley. So all I'm saying is that what makes most sense at this time
Yeah, but.
is just to make that a
Resolution is
stop for both lines.
So if I move both signs together, I guess is what you're saying. But we only have a couple of weeks left. I mean,
No, I know, but Chief, you're, I don't think you want that, right? Am I misunderstanding you?
If we're putting both at the intersection where they are, fine, without making the necessary changes to the temporary section where the parking is, I wouldn't want that without actually, our other bus stops have a little painted thing that says bus stop, and
Right.
there's two lines delineating where it is.
Right.
Yeah.
It'd be difficult to do that this time of year.
Yep.
well, it's a
The
different-
one on the corner
more
doesn't have
permanent
any
basis.
thing
I
like
suppose you
that,
could-
it's just a sign, right?
I'm sorry.
The one that's on the
The
corner,
Lost Pass and Valley, that's just a sign that,
it's just a sign and it's right on the corner.
Correct.
So where does the bus actually stop? Does the
In the
bus
middle of the
stick
road.
out in the road?
In the
yeah,
middle.
and it does all along the road. It
Middle
does
of the
that.
road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally in the middle. of the
But
road.
it does that in
In
most of the
Almost
stops.
all the stops, that's what it does.
I think the reason why.
I mean, tonight is there is a crosswalk there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's another good
It
reason.
literally blocks traffic if it has to stop
Yeah.
on all four ways.
Yeah, but it's not,
Yes.
but that's true on any road. I mean, most of these bus stops are right on the road.
Any four-way stop
Not-
sign, stop area, but I don't know how many four-way stop areas you actually have.
I'm fine with slower traffic myself.
Mhm.
So
Um,
far, nobody's really using it, so it's
Right.
not really,
you know, I mean, I don't, all right, we need to move along. My view is we have one bus stop at the corner. It could be, it can cover both routes, green and red. I think we're just waiting for you to open your tubing. If you move your ticketing over, then the bus stop for tubing, you know, then you'll have two bus stops.
you're gonna have.
At
to do
either end of
something
your
about the
property.
Parking, I mean. Parking is terrible.
Well,
Right. So
I think that's something we're gonna,
We're gonna have to talk about.
No, we
that.
already said no to it.
Well, no, we'll have
No.
to
I haven't
review it
said no
because
to
I
anything,
know,
Craig.
I know we, no, I know that we accommodated with two, excuse me, I know we accommodated with two curb cuts, so I'm kind of confused as to where there's.
there was one other
So,
curb cut
yeah.
right to the north of the constructed pickleball
Right.
court. The
And you were-
select board did not
parking in
say
there.
no to that parking. It said, once you had a site plan review from the planning board and was approved to put parking in there, then we could consider it. But at this point, it's just not there. So
So
we
it
didn't say
sounds
no.
like the course of action is for Craig to put parking down there, he needs to talk with the planning board, correct? For a site plan
A site plan review.
Review
That was
that
communicated
shows
during
where the
his engineering.
parking is.
Where he wants to put the
Where he
parking,
wants to
how
put the
big he wants the
parking.
parking, and whether it fits with the safety regulations and all of that. As we have done with everything else dealing with Boulder Path. And
Well-
Greg.
I've asked for Vista parking down there. That didn't show up. I asked
Again,
for the
well-
sidewalk when I was told
But I
which
think,
side you prefer on the sidewalk, and I explained why I preferred it on the east
but
side.
that's
Right.
beyond the purview of what we're talking about today.
And
So-
I mean,
bring it up.
there were different
Yeah.
reasons, but
I
I'm
didn't
just,
bring it up.
all right. What I brought up was, combine the signs at the corner of Lost Pass. And when you open your tubing ticketing, the idea is to move at least the bus stop there. We can talk about parking as part of the Boulder Path reconstruction, if you want to reopen that question.
Right.
That's kind of what I'm saying. So
Makes sense.
Is Bill coming in, by the way?
Bill is sitting right behind you.
Cause I've asked, do I have permission to talk to the engineer on these plans or not?
Well, I think not at the moment. I mean, you can talk to Bill anytime you want, but I don't think he's talked to us. I don't think he's talked to Steve precisely about what the plans are. We are waiting ourselves to see what the final plans are.
Right, but I'm saying is I asked for Mark for some input because I have some needs on those.
Right.
And before you do all the ink on them all,
No,
why can't it would save me, I mean, I pay taxes.
but we've been communicating with you about this all along. Like every
And-
step of the way, there's
And-
been, you've
and-
been in
and
the
with-
conversation.
All right, you didn't get all your asks. We
I didn't
got
get
that.
anything.
No, that's not
That's not
true.
true.
All
What did
right,
I get?
I don't think we should go into it at this point, but suffice it to say that as it develops, you'll be included in the conversation.
as you
have
have
been
been.
all along.
you have been all along. We get it, Craig. We know it goes right through the middle of your property. We're not trying to ice you out at all. But anyway, as far as the bus stop
Why
is
wouldn't it
concerned.
be beneficial to, before the final plans, if you're asking for final plans?
Yeah, no,
Why
well,
would it, there's some things that I would talk about that maybe should be in those final plans.
And that's why you've been part of the conversation all
and
along.
we're not saying you're not part of the conversation. Bill,
And
you
speaking
look like
of,
you want to say
Oh,
something. We're not really scheduled to talk about this, but say something briefly. I'd like to move on.
Well, real quick, Craig, if you're referring to the question you asked me at the last meeting about the drainage and potentially increasing the flows for your water. The answer to the first question is there currently is no plans to change the drainage as it comes off of the mountain. They're changing obviously the drainage as dealing with the road, but all of the places where water currently drains, it will still drain. I mentioned to Josh that you may be interested in possibly increasing the amount of water, and he said that we would need to look at that as the construction project was happening. But because as of right now, that's not part of what they've been asked to design.
So then
So
that's what I'm asking you, is that we, probably a third of the water comes off the road.
Right, we will, when we talk about the plan, we will talk to you about it. We don't have it in front of us.
Right, but again, why finish the plan when,
We're not gonna finish it. We'll still be talking to you, and there are things that'll go beyond what the final engineering is as it happens, as it does with all our projects, all our road
so when
projects.
should I expect to have that phone call?
I have no idea.
We haven't seen the plans either.
So,
Yeah, but you understand what I'm
so,
saying,
alright,
is that
I do.
think Plans might change.
all
No,
right,
I do
So-
understand what you're saying.
would you please, remove the stop over to,
Yeah, when I get a chance, yeah. Yes,
well, then cover it. We don't want the bus stopping there.
whatever.
Thank you. And we will talk to the resort about just making that one stop, both red and green.
Yeah.
And it will be clubhouse tubing. So that's what people get off, since you're still doing the ticketing out of the
And
clubhouse.
can you do anything about helping with the pickups at the rink? Or getting people to come use it,
Well, there's a stop at Town Square,
right?
Yeah,
so all the people in the rink have to do is go to Town Square.
or any of the hotels they're staying
Or
at.
the-
No,
yeah.
does anybody know if down
The-
at Town Square on their schedules? Because I know Tim had said they were gonna put up that the bus was actually going down to the tubing hill.
I don't know if.
Well, there are
somebody took-
He
schedules
was
published
supposed to
everywhere, everyone who
Published
rents a
on
room.
the
Right,
Yeah,
thing.
there's
I
a
don't know
schedule
what
in all
he's
the
done or
hotel
hasn't
lobbies.
done. I know that the schedules we have, as Wendy showed me today, are kind of a mess.
We actually have the schedule on our website.
Yeah, I mean, it's
So-
on a number, the schedule's in a number
Yeah.
of
Part of that
places.
schedule was, there's no service down here after 4 o'clock.
Can we,
All right.
yeah, I understand that. I can't fix that one, but can we at
You
least have John Faunas notify people that, you know.
But there's
we
a
have
bus, there's a
that
bus,
goes
we
there.
have a
to
bus,
use the bus stop,
we,
please use the bus.
we have a bus.
I
stop.
know, but
Yeah.
last year the bus stop basically said it was going to Lost Pass or something.
And
And
now-
nobody knows what the
Well,
hell
but
Lost
it's-
Pass
it's-
And
is.
now
That's
it's
our,
been modified.
that's our
I
view,
mean,
it says golf, it
so
should say
that's
golf
why-
shop and tubing.
We're trying to get, you
Yeah,
know,
I-
at
I-
least the comment of tubing.
It is on
On
the
the bus stop.
sign, it'll be on this, it'll be reflected on the schedule. That people have access to online or at hotel lobbies or in their rooms, out of whatever packages they get. You know, you can only do so much. People are gonna do what they're gonna do. All right, I'd like to move on. Does anyone else want to talk any more about this issue?
No, but I don't think there's any problem with asking the hockey folks to use the bus.
All right. End of year 2025 closeout, capital accounts, balances, encumbrances.
Yes, I have a draft list prepared. I just asked for one more meeting to get it tightened up so I can give you a finalized version of all of those capital accounts
Mhm.
that carry over balances. There's just a couple of questions I have for our auditor, but I'll have it definitely ready for the 4th.
Okay, so you wanna
You wanna
defer
defer
that,
that?
Yes, please.
defer that to the fourth?
Thank you.
Let's move on to old business. Bill, you're up. All right, let's move on to Dylan, you're up. Doesn't matter, you know, we're just running the meeting.
Just like,
I mean,
wait.
Would you mind closing the door,
Yeah.
Charlie? Thank you.
Steve,
Yes.
I want Bill in here. He's on the schedule. You know, it's just it's constant, just disregard.
He's on.
As it is, what I need to do is sit down with you, and where I want to increase it. That'll somehow just find a way. But, and then, landscape.
All right, Bill. We'd like the update, I guess, on future road projects and landfill remediation update.
Okay, I did get have a good conversation with Josh, recently, and he summarized it in an email to you, Steve, to us. Right now, they're working diligently to get the plans for both projects, Snows Mountain and Boulder Path, completed along with the estimates by January 30th. And I believe your email back to Josh, Steve, said that you really needed the estimate numbers by the end of this week.
Yeah, we have a little more leeway on that. Rich pointed out that we have until the 23rd of February to post our bond and warrant. So I communicated back to Josh yesterday that he has a little more time to get us those,
Pete.
but
Well, just the issue is that we have a bond and budget hearing on the 10th.
exactly.
So we gotta have, if not
That's why I told him the 3rd.
exact numbers, okay, all right, got it.
The plan is you will have them by then. You should, their goal is to have them to you by the 30th, January 30th.
All right, so we can discuss it at a February 4th meeting or hold this. Do you
whole
think we should
discussion.
have a meeting? I mean, it's the whole engineering project. I think we should just meet on that, right?
Yeah.
Not try to include it as another.
It'll take a
Item.
couple hours.
Yeah,
So did they want to set up a meeting on the 30th? Is that what they're saying, or shortly thereafter?
I don't think they think there is a meeting needed, because the plans that you're gonna see are just the final plans from what you've kind of seen
But we haven't really, Bill, because we don't know what Mark did with the
Oh.
discussions they've had with him, so
okay,
that's what I've been trying to say, that we're kind of behind the curve here.
okay.
This wasn't at a final stage. There were
No,
decisions that had to be made with respect to, you
A
know.
lot of
where
it was
everything
done.
was gonna
We picked an option
go,
and
yeah.
there were
So-
several questions which involved Craig and others to conversations with those. And we never got a report back of what changes those made to the plans.
okay. Uh. We did get some numbers based upon the application for the wetland permit that was submitted. And I have them here. They came with that box of plans that's up, is up in your office.
Mhm.
What it doesn't have is the Boulder Path, numbers. It has Snows Mountain, Jasinski, and Greeley.
Right,
There is a component of this that does talk about some of the alternatives, i.e. sewer line in here. So we do have some numbers. And if it's really numbers you want to have a meeting about, absolutely, we can have a meeting, but they're going to be what they are. They're
Well,
gonna do their best engineering
Okay.
estimate of what they think it's gonna cost.
I think we want a meeting, the last I heard, was that the two projects, the engineers said they wanted to combine those. I want to talk to them about that. What is it they are doing? What does it look like?
So it's still two separate projects.
Right.
Combined into one contract is what the recommendation and I think what we agreed to.
Okay,
Because there are things in both that affect the other.
well, for Boulder Path we did. I don't think we've agreed to anything except for engineering on Snows Mountain.
No, except that they're working on alternatives for Snows Mountain.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We
i.e.
haven't,
the sewer line. I mean, that's.
right,
the
but we
big
haven't
al-
seen,
That's the
we
big
haven't seen any of
alternative.
that.
Right, okay, yeah.
So.
So
I mean,
yes,
if
we
they're gonna
can
combine
arrange a
them, shouldn't
meeting
we?
shortly after the 30th or in conjunction with delivery
Yeah.
of those plans.
Yeah, we'd like to be briefed on the
On or
plans.
about, hopefully, the
On the plans
30th.
and then go over the numbers with them.
Yeah,
And so that we can put it forward to the town at budget and bond hearing.
okay,
HEB said today that they'll have Snows Mountain Road, Boulder Path Road, engineering designs for Lost Pass, Bean Bender, and Cascade estimates by the end of this week.
All right,
Okay.
that's good. Then let's just get something scheduled so that we can
We'll do.
discuss it.
Yep.
We like you there obviously as well, but discuss all
I'm
of this.
anxious to see them because as
Right.
you've indicated, I haven't seen sets of plans that I really knew
Right.
what was
That's been the issue.
what was
What were
proposed,
the-
although I was assured that the road cuts that you did approve, the curb cuts that you did approve, the
Yes.
two
There
are
were
in the
three, and you
plans.
approved 2 or 3, as I recall.
2 of 3. The third
Yeah.
one, as you clearly stated, was for right now it's for his equipment to go back and forth across
Right,
north of the pickleball court.
yeah.
I think and that's where
That was-
that's where he's also proposing.
That was approved.
You took a set of plans, we drew on the plans for what his wants were, signed off, gave them to Mark, gave them to the engineers, also with y'all's
Mhm.
Mhm.
guidance on what was to be added to the plans. Whatever y'all approved was added to the plans, so those are in the plans.
That's 2 of the 3 that he
Right.
originally asked for.
Right.
Right,
Now I think he's taking that third and that's where he'd like to put a parking lot.
Right, and we've already told them
North of the pickleball courts, but you want the planning board to review that, et cetera.
to approve it,
The process.
right, to approve a
Right.
parking lot there. And then,
That's not our job.
and we told him that if you did it in time, we could incorporate, and it was approved, we could incorporate it into the road rebuild. That's exactly what we said.
Right.
That's still okay as far as I'm concerned, but there's been no approach to the planning board.
And I did pass Craig's question and concerns last week about the drainage and the amount of
Yeah.
water that he gets.
He wants to
he
Go to
wants
him.
to increase that if
Right, if
possible,
possible, yeah.
and Josh basically said the best way to do that is once all of the new road drainage is done, that's gonna be directed into the same places it's currently going, then we could look at, is there any way to, I mean, we really can't increase the flow off the mountain.
Well, to me, that's.
It is what it- it is
right?
what it is.
We need to look at and approve what plan we want for Snows Mountain, which will include the drainage.
Right.
And then, once that's done, if there's something that can be due to help anybody with regard, any homeowner on the road, or in Craig's case, at the bottom of the road with water, they can come to us and we can look at whether or not it's feasible. But we need to first decide what it is we want.
But right now, you're asking for a meeting between y'all and the engineers with the plans for them to discuss the plans of which are currently in place and the costs.
Yes,
That's what I'm
yes,
hearing.
for Boulder
Yeah.
Path.
final
and for-
plans.
And Boulder Path and Snows Mountain. Right?
Yeah.
So we can go forward with warrant articles this year. And then the other roads, what were the other roads you mentioned?
There are Lost Pass,
Right.
Bean Bender and Cascade.
Okay, and we haven't
Uh,
talked about any of those roads
I
yet.
also shot you an email from HEB, the engineering cost for them to start the work for the Valley Road culvert.
Okay.
Right,
And
so
then
we need to decide what, if any of those we want to put forward this year, along with Snows Mountain Road.
In order to keep, I guess, quick road update. Had a good conversation with the state, slash FEMA. They came out last week. And there was a lot of stuff not included in the scope of work from the FEMA people originally. So the state is working with FEMA currently to get that updated. But something that is needed is something that's in the contract, that HEB would need to do. So if we want to continue with the FEMA process, I mean, regardless, it would need to happen when we do the Valley Road culvert, but if we want to continue with the FEMA process, we will need to put forward the engineering cost for the Valley Road culvert this year.
All right, well,
Okay.
that needs to be worked on and
Yeah,
briefed up.
Yeah.
It's because I said there are a number of projects we're looking at. I don't think we don't want to work with FEMA on this if there's money involved. I mean,
Yeah.
was that the 80-20 or was that what was the breakdown on that?
Originally. It was gonna be,
80% FEMA and 20% us, so
We were
yeah, we
looking
want to
at a big
pursue
chunk.
that.
but they came back to us and that number got sliced
All right,
considerably.
but is it,
So
what?
originally, what FEMA had estimated was it was gonna be
$13,000.
13 grand.
yeah, well, that's,
right?
you know,
It's not gonna happen. So right now I'm working with
13.
them, and.
How many hundreds of thousands of dollars was that project?
Many.
600,
Yeah, 600, right,
not including engineering.
right.
So,
Oh.
but, since a lot of stuff was not included in the scope originally, with the state working on updating, that scope, it hopeful, especially since things were not considered by FEMA, that would need to happen regardless of whatever type of work, whatever went into the ground, that would need to happen, it will likely increase. It will not be 13.
So, all right, no, thank you for all that. One of the other things we've done in the past is we've had a separate meeting on just roads.
Yeah.
Where we've gone through, categorized them, and prioritize them. We do that every year based on a 7-year schedule we had, which is now out of date because of changes we made. So what we need to do is, again, not have, I keep it separate from Boulder and Snows.
Yeah.
That's just one big issue. We need to have another meeting on all the roads and what you as the road agent are recommending we move forward to based on whatever engineering we can bring to the meeting at that time and what still needs to be done, for example, with Valley Road. So we, the board, can make a decision as to what we want to ask the town to spend money on this year. Whatever works for you.
That would be helpful.
In the past, that's what Mark did. But he presented it to us, on paper instead of on a screen most of the time, but whichever way it works So yeah, we need to figure out what we want to do for roads this year, if anything, given the other costs that we have.
Yep.
And it sounds like we'll be able to have that meeting sometime after the 30th as well, right? Well, no, they said the end of this week they'd have
Yeah, so.
all of that.
What does that put us, the 26th is
Right.
Monday, so
So on those, that could be a meeting
before the 30th.
before, and even before the Bowler Path.
Yeah.
Although that's gonna be the big centerpiece. I don't think we want to necessarily commit to this road, but what are the priorities of the roads? And then we can see what they cost, and then we can see what to slot in after we talk with Bill and the engineers on the engineering and costs for Boulder and Snow. Did that all make sense?
So, no,
When would
yep.
you like
Yep.
to have that meeting? So I can-
Next week, we actually have some time.
Let us, well, they're gonna do their thing the 23rd, right, in 2 days. So you guys are probably gonna wanna have 2 or 3 work days to look at this, right?
Oh, yeah.
Before we have a meeting here and then with your recommendations, right? As to what roads need what and what you think we ought to go forward with.
I mean, HEB is still working off of a plan that.
Right, that they gave, yeah, that's, right,
that he gave them in 2023.
right, it was some time ago, right. But I'm just saying, I want you guys to give us the input as to what you think we ought to be going forward with now, or at least this year or the year after.
So,
Because we've delayed roads, right?
Dylan had any,
Ahead of time. I'm just trying to build that into the schedule before we come and talk to us, so we have all the information in front of us. So I'm looking at maybe the 29th or the 30th, next Thursday or
Thursday,
Friday.
Yep.
Thursday morning I could do, like before noon.
I can, let's see. I've got until about 11:45.
Yeah.
We can do like 9 o'clock Thursday morning.
Sure.
Does that work for everybody? Bill, does that work
works
for you?
For me.
The 29th
Yeah,
in the morning?
yeah.
9 a.m.
9 a.m., let's just call it a
2
couple hours.
Yep. I'll send out a invite right now.
So 11 o'clock on 129, and that's just to discuss road projects. Except for Boulder, right, which will be a separate meeting.
Forward-looking projects.
Yeah, well, yeah, forward looking.
So just back to, before we leave Valley Road, Megan mentioned the estimate that. Do you want that number yet now? Just unofficially, I guess,
Sure.
220,000.
228,000.
All right, let's call it 230.
I'm sorry,
Make it easy.
221.
Let's call it 220 then.
And that would include everything from start to bid.
Right. Okay,
So that's the number for the Valley Road.
not including
Project.
the culvert,
And
Not including
these other
construction.
work orders.
not
That-
including
That's
construction.
just the engineering.
The engineering
HEB
costs.
engineering costs.
Okay, well, again, let's discuss all of this
Okay,
on the 29th.
now back to Boulder Path and Snows Mountain. Their plan continues to be, unless you tell them to not do it, is to go out to bids sometime shortly after the meeting we have with them on January 30th, or when we have the final plans. So that
Yes.
for town meeting, you actually have bid numbers,
Yes,
which
right.
hopefully
I just-
will be
right.
less than the estimate, but doesn't
Right.
usually happen that way.
No, that
But-
works.
But at least we'll
Right.
have actual numbers
Right.
from a
Right.
contractor.
So we should look for that meeting sometime the week of the 2nd of February.
It'll depend how long they give them to get the bids in, which I'm not sure of that date.
Well,
It'll depend when they get them out and then how long they give them.
Well, we could have a
Provide
meeting
bids.
that week just to see what kind of numbers you're looking at. That we can plug in as placeholders for the warrant articles that we have to brief the
Yeah.
following week.
Well, we'll have that from the estimates, but what HEB is proposing is to actually bid the projects, the contract
Yeah,
combined
right,
with the alternatives,
right,
so that come for the actual meeting,
right.
you'll know whether the number that we use from the estimates is
Yeah.
right
We'll
on.
refine it. We can refine, we can amend
Refine
it, we can amend the warrant article on the floor.
We may
Correct.
be able to incorporate those two projects into the meeting on the 29th, is what you're saying?
So,
Well,
Uh,
only if they get the plans earlier than they're currently
No, I think
Promising,
that's chewing
which
off.
I doubt they will.
I think we have a meeting sometime the week of the 2nd of February,
We
just to
have
go
Yeah.
over what
Yes.
the plans are now.
Yes,
Because, as I said, we haven't seen, after the approvals, or the option was selected, we haven't seen what changes were made. We would like to see that. We would like to see the costs. And we can use those costs to put into the warrant article, which we can either change because we don't have to put the warrant articles out. For our bond and budget here, we give one number, but we have a different number by the time we need to put the warrant articles out on the 23rd. We can plug that number in. And if we still need to change a number, for our March 10th, we can amend that article on the floor. So
Yeah.
that's how I see I think I see
Right.
the process going. So the week of the 2nd, we would like to talk to them about soup to nuts, Boulder and
I'm
Boulder
going
and Snows Mountain.
Thursday and Friday that week.
You're gone?
Yeah, I'm out of the country.
How about the 3rd?
Third is good.
3rd is the HUD meeting.
Oh, right.
So
Well,
we have a select board
If-
on the 4th,
If it's worth going to the HUD meeting.
and I have an open Monday.
if
well-
Monday is so close to,
I mean, the HUD meeting, maybe we don't need to go to.
it doesn't have to be a select board member. It could be a planning board member too.
Right.
They're interested in housing.
That's fine,
Yeah,
that's
Yeah.
fine.
I would
So
say,
the 2nd and 3rd and 4th work for me. We have a select board already on the 4th.
yeah, and we don't want to double any of that up.
So how about the third?
I think the 3rd works
Yeah.
best. Because
Okay.
that still gives them one,
Do we have a time?
9 in the morning,
Okay, 3rd.
just keep everything consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure it's good with them. I mean, I know they said the 30th, but they don't have to come here physically. Virtual is fine. So it'll be Boulder, Path, and Snows Mountain.
you'll send that invitation out Tuesday.
Yeah, just gonna double check. I'll send it to Josh. And if he has a conflict,
If there's a conflict, we can move it around as long as, you know, on that
If we
day.
give them the
Or someone
option
else.
of doing it electronically.
You know, I just said, he doesn't have-
remotely, So
he
he
doesn't have
doesn't
to
have
come
to
here.
come over
Yeah.
here.
Or
Or he can send
He can come here.
one of his other folks
Yeah.
over if need be.
None of them have to be here personally unless they want to stand over something and
Yep.
they can do it fine from.
His last email said on their timeline, they are actually hoping to have bids in by February 6th. I think that's awfully aggressive. but-
Right, well, they can tell us on the 6th is a Friday and doesn't give us much time at all to try to get something set up for our, because on the 10th, we have to go the following Tuesday to a bond and budget, so I'd rather have whatever they have on the 3rd. And then if they do have some more information, we can
Yeah.
crank it in the following week to our discussion.
I've
with
asked
town.
Josh that if at any point in time something happens that these dates are going to change, to let me know, and I will
Yeah.
let you know as soon as I know.
Yeah, please do, because, but you know,
But he
the
knows how
legal
critical,
constraints we're working under,
he knows how critical it is to get these numbers and
Right.
plans
right?
for this year's
I
meeting.
mean, we, because we're holding, if I'm not mistaken, our bond and budget hearing, the time we're holding it, we can have another meeting after that if there are significant changes.
yes,
Yes.
but it's tight.
It's tight, because we gotta get everything up by the 23rd, so we would have a couple weeks. Well, not really, but yeah, a week and a half,
I think the last
Right.
opportunity for bond warrant articles is the 13th, so
right?
we'll have two days.
That's the last date we can have a bond hearing,
For
even though
bond.
we had our first one on the 11th. For bonds, not budget,
Our first one will be on the 10th.
on the 10th, excuse me.
Yeah. First and
February-
only.
First and only.
Hopefully. Yeah.
February 10th.
Yep.
That's at 6 o'clock, that's
6 p.m.
6 p.m., yeah, that's a solid
Okay, I'm gonna have
date,
okay,
yeah, we gotta do it.
that was, okay.
All right, well, all right, we don't have to worry about it then.
Just real
Okay.
quick, we did get confirmation that the landfill plan has been
Yes, let's move
submitted
on
to
to landfill.
DES, so that's in the
Great.
works.
Any
Um,
sense of when we may hear something
I'm
back?
still trying to get
Yeah.
a commitment
Right.
It's with DES, as you all know, it
Right.
goes in along with all the others that they get. Assuming there
Right.
aren't too many, but it'll work its way to the top.
All
And
right,
so
well,
they're typically not
maybe our engineer can help us a little
able
bit
to.
there.
Now,
Then
yeah, okay.
one final that's, I don't want to spend a lot of time on, but I did have a very long conversation with a good friend of mine in the Dams Bureau at DES about the Snows Brook and Corcoran Pond potential dredging project. I shared with her some of the rumors about not being able to do anything on the other side. She didn't think that was really an issue. Although there are a lot of people that are gonna want to have a say in
Right, chop off on it.
what
Yeah,
it may or may not be proposed over there. But, and I'll get with Steve and update him on the conversation I had. But the bottom line is they agree with me that we need to back up and really look at what the goals of this project are, both short-term and long-term.
right.
And then convene, she gave me all kind of names from DES that are experts in what we're thinking of doing on the other side of the road possibly. So it was a very positive conversation. And I think it's a good idea to really back up and
Yeah, no,
get,
that's.
get
what is
everybody,
HEB?
get everybody that knows
Right.
something about what we're thinking of doing and get all the ideas out on the table. And
Have you talked to HEB about it yet?
no,
You were
Uh,
working with Horizons on the.
I'm sorry, Horizons.
Yep.
That was Horizon.
no, Andrew you saw his email. Because when we last talked, Dylan and I had a good conversation with Andrew before the new year. We proposed that we really need to back up, and he did ask, when are we gonna do that? I haven't responded to that yet, because we really haven't set anything up yet, but,
We need to
so
go forward with that.
they're in a holding pattern right now.
Yeah, no, we do need to go forward. That's another one that we gotta look at, with regard to the Conservation Commission's, project.
Yeah.
As well as, do we want to move forward with anything on Corcoran Pond this year? So whenever I think, and again, that's another Horizons, either you and Horizons first, so you can brief them on what the state has talked to you about. And then if you want to come, or you and Horizons want to come and say, look, this is where we think we should be on this project, both in terms of dredging and silt remediation.
Right.
Yeah,
That
short,
doesn't have
Yeah,
to
short-
happen
short-term,
prior
long-term.
to town meeting, because we're not planning on,
Part of it does, potentially, because of the Conservation Commission project,
a discussion.
right?
what
Well,
is,
yeah, we
what
need to
is
talk
that?
We need to know what our options are.
What project is that, if I might ask?
The silt remediation upstream from on Snows Brook.
Done a more natural way with inserting logs and.
Oh,
flood
okay.
Yeah, there's been a
Okay,
big
so
disconnect.
a connected action, but not necessarily part
But-
of
Hard to
part of a
say.
big contract.
But trying to achieve a similar goal, which is to mitigate as much as
Yeah,
possible. the
and
silt.
some of the names that I was given at
Sediment coming in.
DES are. One of their strong recommendations is to look at hiring a geomorphologist who can really study the stream. And maybe the Conservation Commission has already done that, and that's where they're getting their proposal from.
Mm.
But.
Yeah, there's been a
that's-
disconnect on this that we need, we're trying to reconnect.
Yeah.
So, you may wanna, when you have an opportunity, talk to Paul Ricotta. He's the chair of the Conservation Commission, and get briefed up.
See where they're.
We're at, well, we've asked them to come and brief us on the 4th.
Mhm.
Where the project is, because we put a hold on it. For this year, and they've stated that they would like us to change that decision. And let it go forward this year, but it's a $41,000 project. We asked them to come back with solid numbers and what the plans are, the dates are, and all of that on the 4th. So if you
Give me
let
that
them know
name
you're
again.
in,
Give me a name again, Rich. Paul.
Paul Ricotta,
I'll send you his contact.
yeah,
Okay,
and yeah, you should definitely be briefed up on it. In the end, it may not have anything to do with the dredging and silt remediation. but it's supposed to do silt remediation upstream in the Forest Service lands. And it's been going on for 3 years and anyway, talk to Paul,
All right,
yeah.
I'll do that.
And whatever, if we would also appreciate, I think, your view of the matter as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since you kind of used to do stuff.
Yep.
In the forest, right?
There's a lot of streams on the forest I've managed.
Yeah, all right, well, we value your opinion on the project that they're advancing to the board.
Okay. All right, very good.
That
Anything
enough?
else?
Is there anything else you'd like?
That's all I had.
That's enough.
For now. I'll try to get an answer on the plan for the landfill.
Yeah, well, whenever the state,
As of right now, they're
Yeah.
unwilling to give a date.
yeah, well, frankly, with everything else we have on our plate, I'm not, there's no great hurry.
Well, that one, I mean, it would be nice to get done what has to be done,
Yes.
but there's no critical.
No, well, as far as we know, whatever criticality there is
Yeah.
based on them,
Doesn't seem
right?
like-
Again, says you need to do this by then.
There doesn't appear that there's any crisis management going on.
Good.
On that one right
Good, right, right. So the earliest we'll be able to authorize any money, authorization for any money is town meeting 27, so.
Right.
We're hoping we'll hear something this year as to what we need to do, and therefore how much we need to raise.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thanks.
Thank
Bill.
you, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
all.
I'm glad we don't have any other major projects to deal with. Hi, Dylan.
Mine will be very quick, honestly, because, item 2, 3, and 4, I don't have any update for you on. Item 1, Steve and I
Yep.
have been working with, more or less the 3 different,
In fact, we are meeting, aren't we?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow at 8:30, right? Okay,
the 3 different arms, more or less, of, this project, at least support arms. And Steve and I had to critique their presentations a bit.
okay,
Get them to where we felt they were going to be.
adequate,
Yes.
okay,
What the board would like to see as a draft.
okay,
So we've been working on that the past couple of days. It seems like things have tightened up in a good way.
good,
So
So what we would like from you tomorrow is to look at the 3 different presentations. So you're gonna see one from Black and Veatch, one from Rath Young Pignatelli, and one from PFM.
mm-hmm,
And then as far as the content, give feedback relative to the
right,
context, the stylistic portion of the presentation. I think we'd really like to lean on Jime
Yeah,
Um,
that's the whole idea.
to
Yeah.
help us, because
Yeah.
they did give us a presentation as well that is very sharp to the eye. And so it's our thought is if we can give Jime the context from the 3 different entities to fold into his presentation draft that he's already created.
will he be at the meeting tomorrow?
We weren't planning to have him at the meeting tomorrow.
the reason why, Rich, to be fair,
Mm.
is because John was just using a presentation that it was PFM's information. All he did was just take information and put it into a presentation.
Right,
That changed.
right,
his-
no, I remember seeing it,
Yeah.
right,
So, but Steve's right. I mean, I think we're both in agreement, as long as the board's in agreement, that we don't just want there to be a fact finding. Or fact-based presentation at bond, or we'll call it the public information session. We want it to also be, not just facts on a page. And that's
Right.
more or less.
yeah, no,
That's more or less
no,
what we
of
want
course.
to avoid, because then people this doesn't come across as thorough, at least in
Right.
my opinion. So with that being said, yeah, on the same page with that, and really. Other than that, unless you have any questions, I don't have much for you on the project.
We'll
That's
talk
okay.
about it tomorrow in great
Mike?
detail,
Yeah.
8:30 to
I
Whatever.
slated it, I think 8:30
Two.
to 11.
11, yeah, I have it 11:30 in my calendar, so that'll work. Think we're good.
4 PM.
No.
Would be sitting there by yourself, Dan, if that's the case.
I'm hopeful.
All right, so we will see you tomorrow morning at 8:30.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you.
In the packet, I provided you with the updated short-term rental permit regulations.
Yep.
Yep.
And applications
Yep.
that Dave and Alicia put together.
Yep, again. Chief, anything you'd wanted to add to that?
No, it just had your recommendations for prohibiting ADUs on there. And I think I just need a vote from the board to put it in place.
Do we
I
need
had a
to
couple.
better
Go ahead.
define what an ADU consists of? I mean, I think maybe we have an idea in our heads. Is it, or was it just
Should be a definition of the
detached?
zoning.
There is a definition in.
No, I
the-
know,
Yeah,
alright.
And we could transfer it over.
And had we talked about all ADUs or just detached ADUs?
no, I
had it
talked to
on
Liz about it.
detached.
It's the way the zoning amendment is written now. It's all ADUs.
Oh.
And my concern was that it would be better if it had been split,
Yeah,
because people have different views, but as I understand, it is both. And that portion though, that little bit, chief, about prohibiting ADU use for STR is gonna be dependent on town vote.
Yeah.
Right now, we can say it's operative because the zoning board, passed them, for inclusion on the ballot. But it would mean if we publish this and the town votes otherwise, we'd have to change it again to take that out.
Yes. And that's what I cautioned about last time.
Right,
Is changing it too soon.
So do we
Right.
want to wait until after the town meeting?
well,
on this?
the issue is that it is operative now, and then we're also, the other change we're making is that all STRs have to have permits now.
right.
Yeah,
And that's
Yeah.
independent of what, of town
Right.
vote.
and ADUs.
And the ADU aspect of STRs, correct. I'm just trying to find, I just wanted to look at that again.
I think it's going to be a very controversial
I do
point,
too, I do too. Yeah,
just to be honest.
Yeah,
Just
no,
knowing how
I,
many ADUs that currently are, you know,
yeah,
not that there's a ton of them, but, the ones that do have them, I think the majority of them are using them as ADUs
sure,
or as short-term rentals. sorry.
yeah. And where my mind goes to is someone could rent their dwelling unit, their primary dwelling unit, and live in their ADU and rent their dwelling unit, but live in their, like,
yeah,
you know what I'm
but
saying?
they could,
I don't know.
but that's allowed, right?
That's allowed, but that doesn't necessarily make sense if someone's looking to debate it, or if they have an existing ADU that they've been doing for short-term rental, I would think that would be their argument. So what, I could rent my dwelling, but not my ADU?
Yes,
So I
and-
could,
yeah, I
I
know,
know.
I know, but ADUs are a different category of building. Anyway, first, Wendy, you were talking about in definitions to add ADU in the definitions.
Well, just because there are some definitions in here, if
Yeah,
we're gonna rely
that's-
completely on
yeah.
the definitions in the zoning, then fine. I
Well,
would think we
right.
shouldn't have any definitions. in
So we
here.
have dwelling unit, STR, and transient in section 2, so you can do a 2.4,
Do a 2.4 and add the definition. of
whatever our
ADUs,
definition of ADU is in
Whatever in the zoning.
zoning would work. And before I forget, chief, there's one little issue, it's could be a bit of could cause a complication. We say, so for example, on the transient 2.3, offered, for rent in increments of less than 1 month. But in another place, we say 30 days.
Yeah, I think 30 days has been,
I think it should be consistent, so there's no,
I'll check the zoning, because most of those were taken from some.
yeah, and then that's something that should be fixed, but I mean, I think the idea was 30 days, as I recall. I remember
Yeah.
30
Mhm.
was the way we meant to do it. It's a STR if it's rented in less than 30-day increments.
Mhm.
And you don't need a permit if you're gonna rent it for less than 30 days a year.
Right.
And that's where things got complicated.
Mhm.
So I think 30 days would be better.
Second bullet of the application says 30 days, so. On the application, oh yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to be consistent, that's all.
Yep.
And Other than that, I think I was okey dokey with, are you fine with the fines?
Yeah, those are ones that we established. We've only had to use them a handful of times. Um. Typically, it doesn't take more than, a first offense or second offense
And
to
they,
get somebody's
right.
attention. We found we've been more. For the more serious violations, suspending permits for, noise issues and.
that gets their attention real quick.
And that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Seems to kind of cure that.
All right.
so.
Just wanted to make sure that was still okay with you. The other aspect of it is, and this is, I guess, really a more question for the board. A lot of towns use this process to really cover their costs. $20 for a permit doesn't really cover the cost
Covers nothing, yeah.
of town staff. I think we just picked that number out of thin air, as I recall, just to have a number.
Yeah.
You do have staff work on it. I mean, Alicia spends a lot of time on it. In particular, do we think $20? I mean, you can look at other towns and they're quite high, actually. I'm struggling to remember a particular town, but I remember looking at some. So I'm talking about getting a permit.
Mhm.
I think we should at least make an attempt to cover what we suspect or we guesstimate is the town cost for
I don't know if.
running the program, running an STR
Yeah,
program.
I completely hear what you're saying. I don't know if we should completely try to cover that net since we are now requiring everyone to get a application,
Yeah,
a permit.
well, they can just increase their
That's true too.
rental fee to cover, that's what a
True.
business would do, right?
Yeah.
Not that I'd be telling you how to run. So, no, and I don't think we can figure out exactly to the penny how much it costs. It just seems,
Are you thinking like-
$50.
So
yeah, it just seems low.
Lincoln's 50, Franconia is 50, Meredith is 400,
I like Merit, no, yeah.
and Jackson's 150. So
I mean,
50?
I think 50 is good. I mean, I think we look at 50. Yeah, I think 50.
I just wouldn't want to put it too high that then we get non-compliance and then we have a
Right.
bunch of underground.
Yeah, no, we do want to avoid that, but I think the Lincoln,
Yeah.
in some respects, would be similar to Lincoln, I suppose,
I
so
think 50.
50. I
Yeah.
mean, Meredith is capturing all obviously, Lake Winnie and,
and all
All of
those that
that.
I just listed,
Yeah.
just to keep in mind are annual fees.
Yeah, exactly.
right.
Oh, every year.
Well, we have 2-year permits.
Right. That's
Do we want to change it to 1-year permitting?
All those towns do it on an annual basis.
Yeah, annual. I used to be one of those rental managers. Used to cost a lot in Ware.
Yeah, do you remember how much,
It was $150 when we first started.
a
I'm
few
sure
years
it's gone
ago?
up since then.
Yeah,
That's nothing for a rental person.
right. No, I would say annual,
I think so too.
annual 50, annual.
Annual, yeah. I do think we need to look at the accessory dwelling unit, so.
All right, let's go to that unless you had some
Can I-
other,
Can I first
Danny has
ask a
something?
question
yeah.
on the section on nuisance and revocation?
What number?
I don't,
Does it say 3, 4,
VII 8,
or just what is the numbers are 8, you're an 8?
yeah, section 8.
Oh,
And then it's 8,
got it,
8.1.
got
Yeah.
it.
It says repeated violations of
Yeah.
parking, noise, waste, or dog control ordinances may constitute a nuisance.
That's state, right, chief? Is that,
So
Right.
we have town ordinances, so if we are continuously called to an SDR because of violations of these, we can say, we cited your tenants for noise, we cited your tenants for parking, we cited your tenants for
Dog poop.
yeah,
any of those other things. We can then say, all right, we've had this many violations at this sort of place, we would consider this a nuisance. So it's not necessarily the owner has to do these, but if we're getting these types of complaints from renters.
Right.
Okay,
Because we can write
Okay.
tickets to the renters all day long for all of these other things.
Right.
But if we were gonna pull an owner in front of us and say, your place is a problem. And here's why, because we wrote X amount of town ordinance violations for
Okay,
That's
okay,
why
I was
I-
just trying to understand the purpose of that statement. It didn't.
Yep, it's to be able to establish a standard of what is a nuisance if we're gonna pull an owner in here and suspend a permit.
Well, I don't know what repeated means. Repeated violations, if it happens twice.
So it's written in here, it's typically 3 times within a 12 calendar.
Can result in permit revocation.
Yeah, I'm fine with the language.
Okay,
On that, I think on one list you added fireworks, but on this one you did not. Is there a reason for that?
That's just, I can change it to include but not limited to.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, that gives you some leeway too.
Yeah, in the,
Crying baby, I don't
yeah,
know.
in the application, it lists them out, but it says you have to follow the regulations, you gotta follow the zoning ordinance, and you gotta follow town ordinances.
Right, so it's.
Yeah.
And again, you have to assume people have agency and they can look those things up
Yes.
if they have any questions. Right. Just before we get to ADUs, did you have something else, Dan?
No.
I just want to make sure I understand the 4.2, section 4.2.
Mhm.
Application requirements. Oh, wait, no, sorry, I just moved myself off of that. Sorry, 3.1, registration requirement. So all short-term rentals not managed by a licensed property management company, a lodging facility, a real estate office shall be registered with the town and issued a permit. How does that differ from if I'm Joe Blow and advertising on one of these websites?
So if you don't have a company that is
Right, one of
managing
these.
these properties,
Right,
so, I do this village condominiums.
yeah,
They manage all their own rentals,
right,
Right.
okay? We do not make them get a short-term rental,
Yeah.
even though they
Right.
rent for on a short-term
Right.
basis.
Right.
They are a management company that is renting for the association.
They're not a lodging facility?
Lodging facilities, so your hotels, so this excludes all your hotels.
No, right, I
Any
just
of the
thought village was
lodges,
a
because it's
lodging facility.
Under the definition, they sell short-term.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, so the language in there is to exclude those types of businesses.
right, that's what I thought, but it seems it says shall be registered and issued a permit. It sounds like, am I reading it wrong?
All short-term rentals not managed by.
Right.
A licensed property.
Right, you have to do a double
Yeah,
Yeah.
flip
Yeah.
there.
we can take the negative out of it.
So.
And not required for,
The
because you say down,
Exceptions are,
right, because you say all short-term rentals, as we define it, need a permit. And then this one, you can registration requirement, unless you're managed by a licensed property management company,
or
lodging
a
facility or real estate.
facility or-
But what encapsulates a licensed property management company? Like if I'm working with, I forget the name, Mountain Rentals or whoever, and say they're renting my unit for me, are they a licensed property management company? So then we don't need a short-term rental?
Typically, they are, and it's usually either through the real estate company, they have their own pools. And it's not typically through, person to person.
But
So
what's,
the liability really sits on the company, for the rentals. What you wanna watch out for is making sure that the private person who's renting their property is, has all the things in place to make it a safe place to.
right, but in terms of like being able to enforce any nuisance issues with someone who's being rented through whatever, I can't remember any property management company. So if they don't have to get a permit, but they have a ton of nuisances, then what's our recourse?
We would usually talk to the owners, go direct to the owners. Yeah, property management company to the owners, just like in any lodge or, any place that,
So-
say,
Are you
wouldn't use-
rewarding people who are working with a property management company as opposed to doing it on their own? Are you giving them more leniency? I'm just I'm not saying that's what it is, I'm just trying to.
No,
see what-
not necessarily. I think what we're trying to do, and, you know, we can look at the language, we're trying to delineate from the private person versus a business.
Right.
Doing this for a business.
No, I understand that, but I mean, the situations can still end up being the same, you're still
Oh,
renting
sure.
to the same
Yeah,
short-term rental
yeah.
people.
So the only recourse is I can still write fines and issue, you know, citations to the owners and or the renters, just the same as any of these others. We just don't have a permit to pull from them.
Right.
That's
you
what I'm
you couldn't
saying.
pull the
Yeah.
permit
That's what I'm saying.
or
So-
fine them on the basis of the,
Of a STR.
Right, and is that fair? So if someone has the funds, the wherewithal to pay a property management company.
Hmm.
Versus someone who's just doing it on their own, is it fair
Well,
to?
usually the property management companies have a vehicle like the hotels do if you damage. or
Well,
break the
hotels, I
rules, one, they
understand.
Can either evict you or charge a car card
The
or.
lodging facility I don't have a issue with, it's the property management that I'm wondering about.
Mhm.
So there's no revenue coming to the town, if you will, in the form of permit fees when we're having a property management company handle these
Right.
That
rentals.
too,
Well, and
Right.
the.
So,
I think the main focus was to encompass. And I think Village is kind of the only one that's doing
I
it.
was thinking,
Where
yeah,
they do their own, and I did want to. Include them in this. You know, have them have to do STRs because they're operating as a business, but they're really a property management company. That's operating these.
well, but I'm not talking about village in this scenario, what I'm saying is a property management company. Who's managing a bunch of individuals, like some in Windsor Hills, some in Tecumseh, wherever, a bunch of different.
like
condos
single
associations.
homes, they,
Single homes,
Right.
condos, whatever, you have one property management company, that's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Not like village where it's essentially a lodge in my mind. Or real estate companies who are doing the same thing. So they're being potentially held to a different standard than people who are doing it on their own. Is the way I'm seeing it. Because
okay,
the people doing it on their own could have their permit revoked, but the people who will pay a little bit more and go through a management company or a real estate office won't have their permit revoked if they're an issue.
no, that's
it's a valid point.
That's the way we have it. So, well, the question then becomes, why do we need the exception? Just to follow
Exactly.
your train
Yeah,
of thought,
exactly.
why not require anyone who's renting, a short-term rental?
In their private property. Like if it's not part of a lodging, like, yes, village, oh, and I know, okay, Golden Eagle's private property, but excluding
Yeah,
the
how do we-
lodging.
we
excluding the
ran into
lodging
this problem
facilities,
when
I
this
know,
just came
it's
up.
the language. And.
Can I say something?
Sure.
So when I was a rental manager for short-term rentals, so they rent by the week. The thing that the town that I worked in wanted to do with the short-term rental agreements was to protect. The other property owners that were surrounded by
Exactly.
private houses.
Right.
That were renting out short-term.
Right,
And having an application actually puts it in the wheelhouse of the person that's gonna be managing it. Let's say I'm the owner of that house and I'm renting it week by week. It makes me come up with a contract, it makes me be diligent about what rules I'm gonna follow. I have to know what the town ordinances are, so that I make sure every rental that I'm renting to is gonna abide by those laws. And if not, I can charge them, because I have in my contract that if they don't abide by the town rules or the ordinances, that I can give them a fine. I don't want my rental income going down because of certain people that aren't honest with their.
Right, abiding by
Yeah.
it, right.
But if it's like, let's say Golden Eagle or something like that, where they have timeshares, they have a constant property manager there, an office there that somebody can go to if there's a nuisance. And they can go talk to them, and then they can call in the chief and he can deal with the property manager, where if I'm renting a short-term rental, I'm not necessarily on the property when
Exactly.
somebody is renting.
exactly.
You know, I go there at the beginning of the week, I go there at the end,
Right.
I'm not there during the time unless somebody calls and says there's an emergency.
Right,
So this kind of covers serious short-term rental people that are trying to make money by doing giving their property a rental income by keeping them, adhering them to the laws and rules of what our town requests.
Right,
It makes more
No, I
sense because
understand that.
they have skin in the game. It's not just about income coming in, it's about abiding by the rules.
yeah, no, that's
And they
what
can
I'm
charge
saying.
that right on to their customer. It's not like it's not a big deal. I mean, $50, I think, is nothing for a year. of
So you would have
application,
everybody,
when
you would
they're
have
renting
them,
for $3,000 a week or more.
you would have them fill out the permitting then.
Yes, yeah, you're making my point.
Yeah.
Yes,
I would have every private person have to fill out an
Right.
application.
Yeah,
because
no,
it's
that's-
making them to come up with, to become a property manager. Some people just put their house on the market. They have nothing in place.
Right.
They don't have contracts, they don't have, rule books for their guests. They just go in there willy-nilly thinking, okay, I got the dollars in my pocket and I'm just gonna use this as a party house.
Yeah.
It kind of sets the rules for them.
exactly.
The
So-
problem
What's
that we
downside?
have is there are so many different ways to rent places here.
Mhm.
You have timeshares,
Mhm.
usually handled through real estate companies
Mhm.
that we don't have anything to do with. You have places like Village, then you have, all the hotels rent out. And even some of the owners, the hotels are managing some of the owners'
Yeah,
own units
but what about
on
anywhere,
a short-term basis.
what about anywhere without a front desk, or however you want to define that, anywhere where there isn't staff on location
Mhm.
24/7? Cause that's basically what it boils down to, right?
Yeah, most places are not 24/7, so I just would be careful.
Well, a front
how
desk,
we-
yeah, a front
Yeah.
desk, a central maintenance program, I don't know how to best define
No,
it.
we have until the end of February to try to iron all these things out. Because that's when we said people have to apply for their permits in that mailer we sent, so we have some time to think about it. We can't, this is nothing new, I guess. I mean, this has been resolved in other towns, resort towns, how they
Yeah.
deal with hotels / lodges / timeshares / STRs. I think it's something
I mean, if
maybe we can
it's-
investigate.
Yeah, I think we exclude any lodge type entities. Village, Golden Eagle, Black Bear, etc. But any privately owned beyond those condos, homes. And I would argue ADUs should get at them, do the permits.
Sure. All right, well, let's think about it. I mean, again, we have time, right?
Yep.
You leaving? Have fun. Chris is going to the islands for a week and a half.
Yes.
Jealous.
2 in the morning.
We're supposed to be on the phone yet, so I don't think that's.
We could, well, I mean, we could just end that here, chief, and we can take yours. You have anything else? We can just do your town report, your department report. I mean, let's look at,
Certainly,
we're still playing with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we can talk about ADUs without you here. You don't have to witness
Oh,
the
no,
whole painful
absolutely.
conversation.
Well, I mean, I don't, yeah, I mean,
Whichever direction I wanted to reflect what the board wants.
Right.
so.
well, I think so. Right now, one thing we're definitely struggling with is this issue of private, property management companies
Right,
as opposed to the lodges. All right, well, let's think about that. Come back at it again at our next, select board meeting on the 4th. See if anyone's got a way of dealing with that, right? And as far as for ADUs, I'm not sure there's anything we can do. I mean, it's the zoning amendment. Now, we haven't voted on the zoning amendments that were put in front of us yet.
right. Right.
So we can look at that.
And I was gonna say, we should see those sooner rather than later.
Yeah, we do need to see those.
I'm on the agenda for the 4th. Or do you want to see him sooner? It's up to you.
Well, we should see them as soon as possible, but we
Yeah.
definitely need to discuss them and improve them.
Yeah, I thought that was gonna be on tonight's.
Yeah,
For the
I
fourth.
did too.
Well, what happened was there was this whole discussion of a different date we had to have it and was there, but I told Steve, no, just take it off because
Okay,
we have until the 23rd of February, so.
Yeah. I just was looking at last year's, this meeting, and we
Yeah.
had a whole warrant to review, all the warrant articles to review.
Well, we
So I
could-
don't wanna, I just don't wanna
right.
slip behind.
Right, was it this meeting, the last
20.
meeting in January?
Yeah. Like last year.
Yeah, would 2 weeks make a difference if we did it February 4th?
I mean, we just need to stay on top of it and
Yeah.
not let it slip.
So that would be the big
They're all,
thing.
they're all drafted up, Wendy.
Okay.
Well, why don't you get them out
Yeah,
to
I
us
can
and
send 'em. I
then
would
we
like
can,
to have some extra time.
yeah,
Right.
I'll go
Review
through
them.
them.
yeah, let's do
Yeah.
that and we'll
Okay.
do it, we'll plan on discussing and getting, at least getting a first cut at them on the 4th.
That was my fun here on Saturday.
Right, and then, that gives us until, then we come back at it at the 18th and then we publish them.
And that gives enough time to get them to the attorneys and get the language cleaned up and.
Yeah, after the first cut go around, maybe, yeah.
So
And then the attorneys come back at us and on the 18th, we
Okay.
finalize it.
what
Yeah.
changed with respect to the date? I thought we had a date of the 26th or something.
There was one article that Rich and I needed a little more time to ponder through, I think.
No, there were two different timelines
Oh,
depending on what type
yeah.
of town that we are.
Yeah,
Oh,
We're
so we
different-
were looking at the
we're
wrong kind
different
of.
type
yeah,
of-
there was,
SB2 town,
there are two calendars.
Okay,
their warrant's due on Monday, this coming Monday,
okay.
and traditional town meeting is the
23rd.
23rd of February.
So we have.
And
a
I was
little-
looking at the
Okay.
wrong calendar.
Okay, that's fine. I was just curious what happened.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
All right, so let's look at those and come back at the ADU portion of it, part of that, right?
Okay.
Is that good?
Yep.
All right. Chief, since you need to get a move on here, anything in the department report you'd like to bring up?
Nope, just typical busy holiday week, a lot of people around, handful of ambulance runs, but averaging a couple a day. Saturday when I was up here, it was. Our nearest backup ambulance was Meredith, so.
Wow.
Wow, busy day,
that's,
huh?
Been pretty concerning.
Yeah.
And so we elected to. Just do a quick turnaround at the hospital, come right back and pick up the next patient and have an ambulance service out of Meredith, but. It's a regional thing, it's not anything that, necessarily that. We can prevent, but we had enough staff, we just didn't have another ambulance, so.
And none available.
Trying to work through an issue with the ambulance with our dealer, the suspension system is a liquid suspension system that's electronically controlled. It decided to stop working, I think on the second call.
Nice.
So it raises and lowers the back of the ambulance. So we're trying to work through a solution. Sending it to the dealer is not an option, especially this time of year right now, so I'm trying to get the manufacturer, International,
Hmm.
our dealer. Is coming up with a solution to hopefully get it repaired, so. Right now, it's not that big a deal, there are some places in town where when we unload the power cot, we have to manually drop it down because it's too high. Not that big a deal, but sometimes it can be a little hairy, especially with the amount of snow and ice that's been out there, but. We've been able to work through that. Other than that, I don't have anything else for you unless you have any questions.
Anything?
No.
Yeah, for Chief? No, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Well, come back at you on STR.
All right.
Yeah, we'll get it.
Me too.
I do want to talk about with Liz again. She's been out sick the last couple of weeks. I haven't had a chance
Yeah.
to, but she and her children had flu, a very bad case or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I told you at the last meeting, my partner told me. the flu
Yeah.
is really
It's
bad
bad
this
this
year,
year.
Especially for small children, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And all the doubts, don't forget the second half of that. Here in Waterville Valley. It's bad for small
Okay.
kids, it's bad for old people. Okay, all right, we'll come back at that. As long as you got a note of it, say I made a note, but
Yep.
definitely that and a first cut at the warrant articles for February meeting.
Absolutely.
Transfer station placard update. So. I'm confused, but anyway, that's just me. You
So
guys wanna?
in the
Yeah, go for
memo,
it.
Megan, after our conversation, I advised that you're looking for some basic guidance on two pieces of this process. One was the temporary decals that we discussed at our last meeting, and also fees for an option to have a second placard.
Yep, so really what I'm looking for is if you want to, and if so, what you wanna charge for both either the second placard and or the paper ones. We have a system that we've been working on for the past few months internally of how it would all work operationally. I just didn't know the costs. And so that's really what I'm looking for guidance on is if you want a cost for the second one, if not, it'll come off the application. And then if so, how much you wanna charge for the temporary paper ones.
Okay,
$0 for the second placard.
all right, well, let's talk about that
That's
first.
my opinion.
Now, for the stickers, it was 2 per property owner, correctly? Correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Yep, and then $10 for every addition.
And $10 for every additional. So the new one with the placard would be 1. And then what was we haven't,
I just threw a number in there, put
Right,
5, 'cause
5
that's
for
the
the
cost
second.
of the placard.
Right.
So,
Most people have 2 vehicles that own homes around here. And
Oh.
use both. I mean, I use both vehicles.
Yeah, but the purpose of the
So-
placard is to take it off of one vehicle. and
Well,
put
it doesn't,
another
that's
vehicle.
never gonna work.
Well,
I,
then we should stick with
the second
stickers.
one. Should be free. If you wanna say a third one for $10, just like we did with the stickers, I'm okay with
I-
that.
I think we're gonna stop more than 2, right? That the whole point was to
Can't
get
see
away
why
from
you
the
would need more
stickers.
than 3, but,
No,
or
I
more than
think
2.
2,
but,
right? I
yeah.
think the whole point of the going to the placard, the stickers were just
quick.
we needed to have something quick and cheap that we can institute to get
Right,
the state off our back.
Yeah.
right.
So we're gonna go to no more than 2 placards. I think we're good
agree.
with that anyway, whatever,
That's-
however we do it,
That's fine, I
Okay.
guess.
Yeah.
per property owner, right? That's how we do it.
Yep.
Per
Property,
Per
tax,
tax-paying resident.
Yeah.
taxpaying resident, right?
okay.
Is what it said.
Well,
So-
no,
That's what was decided, originally was per tax-paying resident, because we have condo owners who have also gotten stickers,
right,
in the past. I know we have villas, I think it's villas,
Yeah,
who obviously don't have a dumpster, so they will get one, but we've had other people who own condos in the valley who also have the decals.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, with the long-term want of everybody going to the transfer station by the municipal solid working group. Eventually that's how it would have to be anyways. All tax-paying residents would get a decal to be able to use down here.
the limiting factor is residence, not taxpayer. In other words, if I own a property here, but I don't live here, I can't get a placard?
tax-paying property owner, is what you're saying,
Yeah,
is what it should be.
Sure.
if we say, no, if we say resident,
Yeah,
I'm not most of the people here who pay property taxes are not residents.
Okay.
Right, they're
Property.
yeah,
property
Property
owners.
So,
Yeah.
so you pay a tax, you get to use a transfer station.
Yep.
Here, so yeah, we gotta be careful about the language, so tax paying, I think property owner is the
Yes,
way to,
property owners, how we, I think,
do
Right,
it.
refer, yeah.
You look like you want to say something, don't it?
No, I mean, in my head, resident property owner, it's the same to me, by the way, so,
Yeah.
but for the sake of everybody
Yeah,
and clarification, property owners.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
you
And I-
agree, disagree, Billy?
I don't have, the only thing I would add
Yeah.
to this conversation is, when it comes to property owners, what about families that have split ownership of units? So
Right.
you're only giving two.
They have-
I'm not
Yeah,
trying to overcomplicate it. It just may
Right.
need to be
No, they're
case
a-
by case
right.
basis. Because there's quite a few condos just going from the water and sewer billing
Right,
that there's like 6 names
right,
on some of them for ownership.
right,
And I think
okay,
what comes
Which
to
I
mind,
think is why we did the placard, because it could be left at the property
Yeah,
and whoever was
it makes
there
sense.
at
Right.
that point in time. can
yeah,
use it.
so,
And
yeah,
having two would allow one person to drive off with it and then eventually be able to mail it back, but there would
Right.
always be a spare on hand.
Fair enough.
there is also, right, we have to be very careful. I don't think we're allowed to use the term family anymore, right? Just the way it is, you know, what is a family?
Right.
We could always institute, I mean, if someone comes into town hall and said, I can't find my placard, now what? What do we do?
$10. Cause that would cover,
First,
the
you-
if they're
you-
$5 each and they've lost both, then $10 is the cost for having made those two that they lost. So $10 would cover that cost and give them another one.
I mean, I'm fine with, you know, replacing.
A replacement?
Right, my dog chewed it up, which is always very possible, right?
I mean, if they can bring, if their dog chews it up and they bring it to me tore up, you know, their plastic one tore up, I will give them another one, cause it's proof. that-
Well, but that's what I'm asking. Do we just give them
Right.
another one or do we recoup the costs of issuing another one?
We recoup the cost, I think.
Right, so we have a vote for recoup the costs. I
I
think
think that's reasonable.
I
If
think-
somebody loses one.
misplaces
and you-
it, drives away with it, you know.
Yeah, my daughter drove it
I was
down
gonna
to
say,
New
the-
York City
the
and
kid
threw it away because she didn't think. I
drives off
needed
with
or
it,
something.
right,
Exactly.
and then,
Yeah.
right, we can give them another one,
And I gotta pay $10 to get a new one. That's reasonable. I don't see
Right.
that. It's a reasonable
Well-
amount. So what about the?
okay? So going
the
back to
temporary
the,
tax?
well, no, let's,
Go back to the second one.
we haven't
Okay.
discussed whether we want to charge for more than one.
Well, I'm not gonna support paying for more than one,
Right, but there are three
for
of
a
us here.
second one. I know.
I haven't heard Wendy say, give her view on
Well,
the
I'm
matter.
curious what you're thinking, Rich.
My thinking is that I think that two is a standard that we've gotten people accustomed to here.
Mhm.
Right, we gave out two. We are a resort community. People want to leave one for their guests, whether they're paying or friends or what have you. So I can see no charge after, but for the first two.
I agree.
I can change that language in the application, saying, you know,
So
after two, there is a.
replacement charge.
replacement.
Once you prove that you're deserving it, because maybe a dog swallowed the whole thing, right? So you gotta prove. Not unusual.
Dogs can eat placard.
Our dog that we have now eats anything. I have to be very careful. We've got, can't leave certain, you know, anything plastic is gone. It just, you just
Oh, you're killing me.
choose it up. So, two for every property
Owner.
owner, tax-paying property owner. I gotta get that right. I gotta be a little bit careful there because I think the way that there are people who rent to others, like we have some long-term rentals in town.
Yeah.
Yep, so in the application, in the process, if
Right.
they bring me a rental agreement, they're counting as a resident, so they will get a placard.
Right, but a long-term
The long term has to be a year or more.
year.
Well, why wouldn't the property owner just say, this is my property, I need two?
And they
Right.
could do that as well.
Yeah, that's where I was
And-
going with it.
And that's
Just-
where we're keeping
so-
track internally on it.
Right.
We have it all worked out, where we're tracking by property. so once a month.
Yeah, I would take the rental out of it. I mean, I would just, it's the property owners, and if
Yeah.
they're renting their place in a long-term rental, then they give the placard
Yes,
to that person. And that way, you're always just dealing with the person of record.
Yep.
Person who's paying the taxes, and you don't have to worry about who these people are, they claim a rental agreement, whatever, no,
Right.
just have the property owner. So I think just the property owners.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And replacement is what, would you say, $10?
$10 would, if they're $5 each, it would cover the cost of the two that were lost. Unless if we wanna add a penalty on top of that,
Well, yeah,
or
the
make it
other,
15 to cover the cost of.
the other
one.
problem with that is, what if it's lost and then found? Now all of a sudden they got 3.
We saw at town hall, at least through the sticker decal process.
Right.
Quite a few people coming in.
Saying they've lost their decal,
It was pretty regular.
right, because they're just handing them out like crazy.
On a continuing basis or just in the beginning?
I'd say for the first year.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a long
It's
period.
only been a couple years.
Yeah,
it's
I
only
know.
been-
Like, hasn't it only been a year?
So, I mean, yes, I don't see how you get around it, because how do you invalidate one and validate
You
another
can't.
one?
Yeah, you
I
can't.
know.
You can't, it's a lot of,
Well, are
trust
they
going.
numbered?
They are numbered.
So you,
Yeah, but they'd have to check if that number, when they pulled up. Is that?
We're not
Maybe-
scanning them though,
Yeah.
are we?
that's what I was gonna
No.
say, yeah, could it be scanned? Can they?
The,
When people drive
Placard.
up, yeah,
Okay,
it will not be scanned. I mean. If this is ever something you ever wanted to do, I'm just gonna throw it out there, but like, let's say we wanted to automate the gate, right? And it would only open between, these times.
right,
sure,
It could scan either
yeah, you put
placard or
a,
license plate, and it would
Right.
open during those times for those people only. I'm not saying we're gonna do that.
no,
So,
we're looking at.
Technically, no, it cannot be scanned right now,
Right.
but it is a possibility in the future if you wanted to do that.
Well, I think the issue is simply more along the lines of, what if someone comes in and says, I lost both, I need 2 more?
right, and then we can take those previous, we would know who. the
And it only
numbers were
costs them
assigned to.
$10, so all of a sudden for $10, they've got 4.
Right,
So.
No, it's $10 each, I
We'll be
think. first
tracking
off.
it internally on our side. Numbers to the property, so, and then once those numbers come off, they'll be red listed. And the operators have to check the placards when they come in.
oh, you're gonna check right to the, okay,
Yep, so.
Okay, that's what we're asking.
Yep,
Is
so
there
it's-
a
it's
control
limited to-
mechanism?
Exactly, so if there's a red listed number that is on a card, that one will be taken. We'll ask, where did you get this, what properties, so on and so forth.
okay, good.
So we're gonna have a more active
Active out there, yes.
person.
That's the benefit from
No, I'm
moving,
fine with it. It's
moving the
just- it-
process out of town hall and down to the transfer.
Yeah.
Right, all right, no,
Yeah, no, it's
I'm
good.
fine with that. So
I'm fine
as long
with
as
that.
you keep up the list of what's
And we can
active and
give
what's red listed.
information As things,
Right.
come down the pipeline, like, hey, batteries cannot go in the trash anymore, it kind of just, it gives us that one-to-one communication with a lot.
Right,
of
no, we've
residents.
always liked the idea of having the attendant interacting with the with the
Guest.
guest, the customer, what have you. But actually scanning would make that easier.
It would,
If you had a barcode or something on the, because you can scan it right away, you'd know, without having to go check a list,
if yes,
or QR code,
QR code, yeah.
just
I
as a,
mean,
just as a thought, to save you the extra step of having to actually,
we can look at that for the next round that we all have to make.
Yeah.
We can figure out the system internally, so it's a little streamlined.
just make it easier for you guys, so.
Yeah.
Scan, you get a big red, nope, sorry, you got another one? All right, so that leaves us with the first issue, which was,
the temporary
The
ones.
temporary.
yeah, I'm still struggling to understand the purpose of the temporary ones.
So, I mean,
You're taking notes down on all this, right, as to how we're coming down, Steve?
so it's the.
On the placard, on all the, well, the
the
ins and outs?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to write this
rental
up for people.
Who are coming in, who are only staying, like the STRs, who are only staying for a short amount of time.
Yeah,
And like the people who have the property management companies, they also have housekeepers. And the housekeepers are gonna get a contractor one so we know, that's completely separate, but, the housekeepers, we know them pretty much by face, by vehicle at this point. But I still wanna have them have a placard, but most of those locations, have those people who are taking care of, their house, their complex, and bringing it to the transfer station. It's the individuals, like Airbnbs and stuff, who don't really, some of them don't have property managers. We've had people come in, they're coming off the slope and they're like, hey, like, I'm at blah, blah, blah. I don't have a sticker. Can I throw my trash away? Most of the time we ask for a Airbnb confirmation or, Verbo, wherever they say they're renting from. But it just. It's not, I understand it's being generated in town partially. But sometimes it's also a little bit, the trash seems to be a little bit more than what could possibly be generated by, we kind of go off of a 4-person family, if it's a single person, in a weekend. So trying to, I don't know if they offset costs, but trying to offset the cost of the, trash that is coming in that wouldn't necessarily be from town.
Or it's like a party house.
Correct.
Right,
So
Generating-
it's getting more use than a typical house would.
that was my first
Yes.
thought.
Yeah,
I think 2 are fine.
but is that an opportunity to recoup some of the costs by having these temporary ones that would be
I mean,
available for a
we can
fee?
do only to STRs.
Well,
That's-
no, but, okay, so let me just get to this, recoup costs. But we'll end up more trash, which cost us,
That's why I
More.
wanted to
But we'd
Give-
have,
the offset of the cost of the paper ones, for the people throwing it away. Because more trash is gonna be more cost to us, but we have that cost offsetting the trash costs.
because
Okay,
so the people, I
seems-
think the
Alright,
people who
help
are
me.
targeted, yeah, I think the people who are targeted by these paper ones are those who would have a house where they don't have a property manager. It's kind of like what we were just talking about
Right.
with
so
STR.
they rented,
So they have a house, they're off in wherever other town
Mhm.
they're in, and their house is being used and probably abused. And maybe they thought they had a nice family of 4 in, but it turns out, or 2 couples, but it turns out they invite 10 of their friends, and next thing you know, you have a whole lot more trash generated by this group than would typically be generated by how that house is set up to accommodate. So
Or the
If-
people coming in for a ski day, having lunch on the mountain, and. I do it sometimes. I used to do it a lot at Sunapee. I would go to the mountain, I'd bring stuff to cook and, all this stuff. And it was trash I always took it home because I was myself, but, it's not trash that was generated based off of living here. It's generated based off of someone visiting for a day only.
that's true, or yeah, someone like driving in to picnic on the beach in the
Mhm.
summer type of thing. But I guess I was thinking more in terms of the short-term rentals, that person with the house, they could have pre-purchased however many of these paper things and
Hmm.
say, okay, grab a paper thing on your way out that will allow you to clean up your trash. And if you don't, they'll probably have some internal thing. If you don't do it, there's a fine for you, blah, blah, blah. But those guests would have the opportunity, and we would have the opportunity to, maybe it's nominal what would be recouped, but at least they would, and that would be, I think, a bit of a heads up as to how many of these more
They anticipate.
heavily
coming.
used.
Hmm.
So
Party
if-
houses.
I'm gonna throw out notional numbers.
Hmm.
Let's say we charge somebody $5 for one. Maybe. Maybe they get a discount if they bought 5. 5 for $20, so that reduces it to 4 or something. To kind of incentivize people for using these. I don't see using those as a problem. I actually think it's a fine idea. The question is, and this is what I asked last time, is what happens
Also
when
keeps-
somebody,
Keeps accountability. so, like,
doesn't
if somebody just
have-
wants to Come in from out of
right,
town.
but
and
you
try and
wanted,
Drop off.
but we had an approval process or something where it was gonna take a couple days, right? So the question is most people doing a VRBO thing and stuff like that, it's like, bam, they're in on the weekend, then they're out and so forth. So they're not gonna have time to wait for town management to deal
To do
with
what?
approval processes, but we have an application process.
Well,
It has to.
No,
be
but the
approved.
owner, but the owner gets two. The owner
That's-
leaves one.
that's specifically
Yeah.
Just for the owners.
I'm talking about the temporary ones, yeah. How would that work?
They would, so.
They have
Usually
to,
For us, how we had worked it out internally was the Airbnb comes in, right? They're like, oh, I don't have a sticker, I'm staying at whatever Airbnb I'm staying at. They show us their Airbnb thing, they give us $5, they can drop off their trash. It'll be good for a week and that is it.
Yeah, but if they're an Airbnb, the owner has a pass.
See, I'm envisioning the property owner being responsible for purchasing the paper passes
Right.
and leaving them in advance
Which I'm
To-
fine with that
to
as well.
prohibit anyone from showing up without proof of trashability, whatever you call it.
would
Yeah,
we
I can
have,
pass that cost on, I suppose.
would we have a means for someone to show up at the transfer station and purchase a pass? You know, the owner never left me one, I've got to get rid of all this trash. Would there be a means at the transfer station to purchase this, a single one-time use pass?
I don't know.
That's the question I'm asking.
Yeah.
I'm,
I think if so, it would have to be expensive to dissuade anyone from doing that.
I mean, I don't
That's my
think
thought.
that's an optimal thing,
Just
because
anyone
we don't
without-
have credit card systems down there and.
I mean, I think we're agonizing over something that people should be doing anyway. I know when Helen and I rented something at the beach this past summer. It was a rental contract. It specifically said what to do with trash, what days to put it out, where to bring it. And it left, I forget what it was. It wasn't a placard, it was a card,
Sure.
to show.
And you do it, yeah.
They do it,
I agree. I agree.
and I'm thinking to myself, oh, well. I gotta do the trash, okay. Helen, you finish cleaning, I'll take the trash out, I'll come back, we'll look up and we'll leave.
Yeah.
We're agonizing over. I don't know, give people agency.
Right.
We issue the owner two. If he or she is renting their property, they need to make sure that person has a means to dispose of the trash.
And if they- and if
It's
they don't-
simple.
and
I'm
if
just
they-
trying to stay away from anything very complicated.
Yeah, and if they don't wanna leave their placards behind, they can purchase a stack of, or one or two of the little paper ones, and they don't have to worry about whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me, just an added complication. I've never had a place where I've stayed and rented that you got a temporary one. You just abided
Yeah.
by, they left you what you needed and you
Yeah.
abided by whatever, or you didn't.
That's true too.
I've never heard of it either. I mean,
Yeah,
but
I'd like
I'm
to keep it
trying
as
to be
simple as possible
open-minded.
too.
about.
Simple is good.
options. Yeah.
Well, they usually have cleaners, right? So
Well,
you-
that's the other
you
thing.
dispose of your bag into their receptacle. And then when you leave, the cleaners will come. You have cleaners
that's what
and
you're
they'd be
saying.
labeled as contractors.
Yeah, no, and
Yeah.
that's, and you pay for that as
Yeah.
part of the rental as well, so.
Yeah, I mean.
If we wanna
get that.
forego that for now, I'm okay with it. I mean, it's up to you guys.
Yeah, we could just try
See
it
if it
without the
presents
paper and
problems.
see
Yeah,
if.
I mean,
I mean,
let's go with
Yeah.
the simplest and see if
The
it
years
works.
on the paper ones, I think it's 5 years, so if you wanted to go to them, then we'd still be set for them.
Okay,
All right, yeah, let's just go with the two per tax-paying property owner.
All right.
Additional cost is, so if they lose it or misplace it, we're gonna give them two
No, it's
One,
One,
$10 a piece, I
Yeah.
think, if they
10.
have to replace them.
$10.
I
a
mean,
piece.
yeah.
No, I was gonna
even
say,
I'm not gonna replace that many.
no, and I would say you'd wanna make that replacement high so they don't think,
Yeah.
$10 placement fee
Sounds good.
per placard that has to be replaced.
right.
And doing the amount.
The initial allowance for any property owner, and you guys are gonna keep a record.
Yep.
That will, if there's someone comes in, you'll know that they've switched out. There'll be a numbered system or what have you to switch out.
Exactly.
Yep.
And still do the application process. It'll streamline things, at least for us, so that way they're only issued on a as needed basis. You know, so if somebody's not here for 5 months, you know, I don't have to worry about it getting lost in the mail or being thrown away
Right.
or something like that. I won't be losing the cost of that. I won't be eating that cost. And it'll just be easier for us down here with the
Yep.
application, so.
Sure.
And then you also have a system for contractors. And how are we gonna issue those?
So contractors, it's gonna be the contractors that do work in town. So basically, Right Angle will, I is throwing around the idea of Three Lakes, but right now for sure, it's gonna be Right Angle will, and then all of the housekeepers will get a contractor pass. And they will only get one.
What about someone like Harry Stearns,
Harry Stearns would also go in. I forgot about him.
right?
How does-
There
well,
there
how's
might
he
be a
categorized?
few others.
So
There may be a few others, I mean.
But like
But I'm sure
Will
you know them,
has a
yeah.
location in town, he generates a little bit of trash,
Yep.
what he's for.
Yeah, yes, so what we've
Same.
done in the past is, I thought, at least we started, I don't know if it actually worked. Was that if you were a contractor with a place in town. You got a certain type of pass,
Yes, and that is what I was sticking with.
right?
I was trying to keep the same.
So
standard.
that's Will,
Right Angle,
Right Angle has a,
Seemed to work really good.
right. And
and
if
I
you,
was gonna do the housekeepers, so.
right, and who are the housekeepers? Help me there.
How many are there?
No, well, what are they? I mean,
Some are individuals. who
Right,
do
private.
housekeeping Private,
right,
and then there's one company. I don't remember the name of, Great something, but it's only one company. The rest are individual people, private people.
that they have a contract with
The-
or they have a. Agreement with, they're cleaning the house of
Right.
I would think there'd be a few of those.
Yeah.
Because
I've only
people-
ever seen a few come in, unless they're taking the trash out with them, which is a possibility. But the few that do come in regularly, I was trying to keep things easy for them.
So this would actually, right, so this obviates the need for temporary for most of these because they have a housekeeper coming in. Who would have their own pass. That was
For
people
those
can
who-
leave their
For those who
trash,
have it.
for
Yeah.
those who have it. Well, it will push them toward that. Right, or push people to do it that way. All right, I mean, you guys happy with it?
Yeah, simple's
See how-
better.
see
I'm
how
okay
it
with simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to keep it simple. A few of these things we
Yeah.
have floating around. And the fewer differences we have between types.
Just-
Is best.
There are too many nuanced cases around here that.
Yeah, but the point is, you gotta go for the. You go for the standard and then
Right,
people adjust.
yeah, I don't disagree with that.
2 free $10 replacement fee.
Got it.
Good.
So, but now, when are we looking at it? When do we want to start this?
Oh,
I can start it down there next week, starting next week, if you
We'll
want.
need a phase
Well, there's an
period.
application,
There is an application.
so you're gonna have, get applications out to folks, or they're,
Mhm.
let folks know that we have an application.
When's our next mailing to property owners?
were you thinking, Megan, to have the applications available online?
I wasn't going to do that, just because it would probably send people up here to do it. I also don't want them to get lost in my email thread.
Mm-hmm.
But you can create a separate
Well,
link,
it could be online and they have to print it.
yeah.
Or not online fillable and they can just submit
Yeah,
it.
most people will expect well, I be careful here in Waterloo Valley, but. Most people would tend to want to do the online, right? Just fill it out online,
I would think.
not necessarily even print it, just submit it,
I'll make the changes.
If it doesn't complicate things.
right?
It's fine.
But you guys, someone's gonna have to check it, right? Someone up here is gonna have to check it anyway, right?
Make sure that the
Their,
property
their,
owner
their
is.
taxpaying property owner, in good stead, let's not forget that bit. too.
Yes.
That's one other thing we can do to get people to make
In
sure they
good stead.
pay.
They would need to bring car registration or tax bill or
To
water
whom?
sewer, or water sewer bill. They would bring it down to us. I was gonna be, me and Mike supervisor, we're going to do them all.
Is there an easier
That's
way
not
to
gonna-
do it though? Like that, if it.
They're like 400, 1,200 properties, I
Because
mean,
it's only
Yeah.
one
And
big
that's why we
wave,
were gonna do it as they came in
yeah.
to the transfer station.
That's,
So if someone comes in with a sticker, you say, hey, by the way, we're going onto this
we're
placard
moving,
system.
right?
I
Here's
can't
an
come to
application
town
to fill
hall
out.
and deliver my completed application and receive them upstairs. What you're saying?
Receive them.
That
at the
doesn't
transfer
seem
You
to
gotta,
make
you gotta work,
sense.
you gotta go down, you gotta do it at the transfer station.
No, but
is
as
what she
people
said.
come through,
The
they have their
transfer station.
stickers and they can have a stack of applications, say, hey, great to see you, thanks for showing your sticker, here's your application for the next time you're through. And I mean, I'm
Fill
sure
it
you'll
out.
be doing it gradually, right?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna,
Yeah,
right now.
Well, no, I mean, that would be a simple way of doing it, just that
Yeah.
everything is done electronic now. I
Right,
mean, we,
and I'm assuming you would keep probably a spreadsheet or a database with everybody. I mean, a database is better,
Yep,
but
we have a computer down there that, everybody can access.
I mean, I suppose you could have the option of either handing someone a piece of paper or saying, or scan this QR code. And then do that type of thing, so the people who want to do that online can scan the QR code, and people who can't be bothered with the QR code can just take the piece of paper.
Because on the application itself, it has an option for the placards to be mailed, right, at a cost.
At a cost.
Yes.
so if we want to make sure that we're only giving these to people in good standing, so to speak, taxpayers in good standing. Don't we want the tax collector, that person to be making the decision? That this is this person, yes, is a tax-paying resident in good standing. You, DPW, can mail them the two.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, shouldn't that be the central point if we're tying
Yeah.
it to tax?
Yeah, you're right.
I don't want this process to be in administration anymore. So what we could do is we could generate a list of those who aren't, which thankfully there aren't many of them.
Are not,
In good
In good
standing.
oh, no, but even if it wasn't, I mean,
Communicate that with
Right.
Megan. So that in the event there's an application that comes in of a person who's in arrears,
hmm,
we can have them talk to the tax collector. Prior to receiving their placard, if you'd like.
but how does Megan and her folks determine that this is a tax-paying resident? Someone's got to administer it, right? Who,
I would provide a list of those who are not in good standing to
no,
Megan.
no, I'm not talking, not in good stand, I'm talking about anybody,
who's in good standing.
yeah.
Like what if some.
Who's gonna administer this?
Water sewer bill or tax bill.
Yep.
That's what they would bring me.
I don't like that idea at all.
I think people are gonna get tripped up.
I don't like that idea at all.
People.
Maybe we start it after town meeting when you guys are less busy upstairs and you can help with the.
It just,
I mean, yeah.
isn't it like any other license though, Steve, that people have to get at the town? That you fill out a form either online or in paper, and then you come into, it's managed in administrative services and it's issued to you. So if you do it online, if there's a list, if someone applies online, that is checked against, somebody checks that against the property tax
Yeah.
owner
records.
database,
Yeah,
confirms that these people can have two. And then it's emailed back that come to town hall to pick up your placards, i.e. your license, bring identification.
Hmm.
Isn't that like the way you should do stuff like this?
Yeah,
We could do it again. It was a lot of fun the first time, but
Well, no, but this is gonna be, this would be a little tighter, I would hope.
and I understand Megan wanting to take that off your plate, but I see what Rich is saying, it's hard, I mean, oh my gosh, who's gonna have all of their. People are not gonna be happy having all of that information to bring to
No.
that building when they know all of their information is in this building.
That's right.
I think you make it as simple as, I mean, we don't have to institute this right away, so this is just still a topic of discussion,
Right,
right? There's no hurry here. But I think you'll give people the option to apply online. And then to come pick it up at town hall. Showing identification.
or if they've applied online, they could be checked in admin. And the list this of whoever's okay to pick up could be sent to the DPW.
Well, you could do it that
building,
way
and
too,
then
the
they
next
could just
time
show
they're-
their-
The next time they're
And they
down,
could-
but
And
then
maybe
you,
show their license as opposed to bringing like other proof of
right,
property ownership.
I think if you have a long enough phase-in period, you just
Yeah.
wanna have one place, really.
Well,
Now you're
yeah.
moving it to two different
No, I get it, I
places.
just,
And people who
I mean,
come into town hall for any
So-
number of reasons, why not to pick up a placard?
if you're wanting it to be checked against taxes,
So that's
um.
the database, right?
no,
could
What is
do
the
it- Could
database?
do it up here.
assessing.
Assessing?
Could do it up here and could have a approved stamp that goes on it. They'll bring the application down to me. And that way I can still keep track of.
I don't know, we're in
How-
Rube Goldberg territory
No,
here.
once again, we're making it,
Overly
we're
complicated.
doing what we did earlier, which is making it too complicated. We gotta find a way to simplify this.
You apply,
I agree with Rich on that.
it's checked by somebody. And then you come pick it up, show identification, your driver's license that, yes, you are these property owners, you're allowed to. I don't see,
Megan,
How-
why
how
don't
to
we
do it
get
any
the
simpler?
process on paper? And we can
Yeah,
share
we
that
can.
with the board. Apparently they want a little more buy-in on the process, so why don't we get that on paper, share it with them, and then we can get some feedback that way. How does that sound?
no, that's fine, we have a time, which as I said,
I
this
mean,
is still a
whatever.
discussion.
Yeah.
And we wanna make it as simple. And as automated as possible.
And it's not, it sounds like it's turning into something like trying to get a real ID,
Well, yeah, no, but
you know,
I'm-
and that just
Yeah.
is too complicated. I don't walk around with tax bills in my pocket and I don't walk around with water bills in my other pocket and things like that.
Well, I
It's
mean,
just, people don't do that.
I think the
They just
frustration,
don't.
I think the frustration would just stem from the fact that the information is in town hall. And that's where people will get aggravated,
Yeah.
so whatever, if you, I'm sure you guys
yeah,
can come
Chris,
up with a good
you-
streamlined. way of doing
let's
it.
see let's see what you guys come up with and we'll go from there. I think automated, I would even put the whole thing automated. I wouldn't even require paper anywhere. At all. I would just fill out the online form.
Right.
I mean, people do that for all sorts of things now. We can't say no. You know, if they need help, come to town hall. That's be such a small number of people.
Is there a reason why we wouldn't just wanna mail, if someone fills out a form, wouldn't just mail it to them?
That's an
Or-
option on the
Or,
application.
or they could
But
mail.
why would we have
Yeah.
to pay for it extra?
No, she said they
Well-
would pay for it. The mailing. No, I'm talking about the checking status. Again, we'll talk about, I'm just, someone lays eyes and compares. The application, whether it's online or paper, with whatever the proper role is, assessing. Confirm that this person is authorized to have two. And then either mails it to them or you know, it's part of the process. What do they want to do? Oh, they're gonna come in and pick it up, okay, or they want it mailed. And that's, you know, and they check that and I don't know how they pay the extra $5 or whatever it is. How you wanna do it.
Okay.
Shall we move along?
Yes, please.
All right, so town meeting room dedication, I just think we need to move along on this. We
Yeah.
need to, I don't know if you guys had any names, how you wanna do it, how formal you wanted to make it, I think we just decide what we wanna call this room. And then we can have a more formal ceremony to the person or family that we honor.
Yes.
Did
I'm
you want-
okay with that.
Did you want to think about it and come up with a name next meeting to talk about it, or do you have people you're thinking?
I think if we discuss it, we should discuss it in non-public. Because
So we
there's
don't
issues
offend
of
anybody.
reputation and not offending
Oh,
anybody.
all right.
and
I didn't
such
think it
like
was-
that.
All right, it didn't
Um,
strike me as that, but, all right,
I think we should do that first, and then we should
all right.
contact the people if that's
And make
appropriate
sure,
and
and
so
make sure they
forth.
want
and-
that recognition.
Right.
And let me look
Yeah.
through if you would like, I think we had a short list.
We did.
Before,
Yeah,
and I think I
yeah.
have that somewhere, so
Yeah,
I'll try to dig
all
that
right.
up.
Yeah.
Let's dig it out and let's
Yeah.
put it
I
on
don't-
non-public for the next
I
meeting.
don't have problems at all with the concept or doing it. I
No.
think we just,
Make it easy.
I want to make sure we don't hurt feelings in the process.
Okay.
Right? You know, we'll do what we can.
We're trying to honor somebody, so.
Right, right. And I think that's how it should be ultimately be viewed as an honor.
All right, department head, Dylan?
Thank you.
Yeah.
That I wanted to mention was, we had a failure of our lagoon pipe. So the effluent pipe coming into the facility
Oh,
broke. Luckily, we were able to get Ellie Johnston out to make that repair.
good.
Was that Thursday last week?
I think it was Thursday.
Thursday,
Yeah, that contract was very timely.
yeah,
Well done.
yeah.
Gosh.
They were out, they basically were on site within an hour of me calling them, just to kind of get a look at things. And they had the job completed within 6 hours of me calling them
Amazing.
initially. Yes,
Okay.
so fantastic work.
They're gonna
Wow.
regret signing this contract with us.
Well,
Well, make sure
Well,
they're
it's a
thanked. I
short
appreciate
business.
that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's a short scheduled sort of
yeah,
business.
and they did, again,
Yeah.
they're fantastic. They always are right on point. They actually had, so pipe and change material a couple of times. And they actually had the EJ Prescott, who's a vendor in the water wastewater industry. Show up
Wow.
to make sure that, because they needed to make sure that they had the correct coupling in order to meet those two pipe materials together. So they, you know, the rep came out with a couple different ones just to make sure that
Mhm.
once they had it open, it wasn't a waiting game, because, you know,
Right.
luckily we had good weather that day. The next day was not great.
Yeah.
So anyway, it worked out well.
Good.
But just again, reason why I just wanted to make sure I get a chance to mention as well as anyone that listens to this, an aging facility.
Yeah.
This was a direct correlation to age. This
Yeah.
was not anything else other than age. that
Yep.
Caused this.
Do you have an
so
estimate on the repair?
we already got it. I think it was $11,000. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So. But built into that, it was a $2,500 coupling. So,
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah,
you know,
but we've had issues with the lagoon before. We had to shore it up, right? It's considered a dam.
Right.
Couple years ago, 2-3
Yep.
years ago, we had to spend,
yeah,
Money.
that was substantial.
that was a
Yeah.
big expense. And that was also age, right?
Right, correct, yeah, so that was really it staffing wise, we got a vacation going on right now, with one of my staff members. So we're a little bit shorthanded, but all in all, everyone's healthy. So. Things are looking good for now,
Good.
Rich, if you're watching, I hope you're having fun in Florida.
yeah.
If he's having fun in Florida, he's not watching.
You never know.
He's at the tiki bar.
Well,
He stays involved.
you're finishing a second 18 for the day.
Yeah.
So.
It is
unless you have any
later
questions, things are,
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Megan, anything in DPW?
Well, not really, just winter, you know, if Mark were still here, he would, be jokingly asking me, why am I doing some snow dances? But I can assure you, it is not me.
No, I think the roads have looked good. I'd be finding the mix, what are you at 50/50 now? Except for when you get the
except
really,
when we need,
the more
rainfall, but
salt.
yes.
Yeah, that seems to be,
Yeah, no. it's
seems to
good.
be a good place.
Thanks,
Yep,
Dylan.
Dylan, thank you. See you
Thanks.
tomorrow morning.
Thank
Yep,
Only thing I did wanna ask, because we're finding we like it, is you'll see a windrow on the curb line. for the
Yeah.
sidewalks.
Yeah,
I wanted to get your thoughts, because I know, especially while we're out plowing and seeing it, people driving in the multi-use path. Obviously, no decisions have to be made now, or
Mhm.
even by the end of this year, we can figure that out. Do we want to put a windrow in between the multi-use path?
yes,
Yeah, no, actually,
Yeah.
Steve and I have talked about this. I
Yeah.
wondered about that too.
yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
You wanna try it out? I mean, the whole idea was to, was,
know.
well, I say the whole idea, but one part of this was to avoid having the extra work of a sidewalk and all of that, slowed you guys down. You need to concentrate on the roads. That's where the safety issues are.
However.
However, I have noticed that we have people driving in the multi-use lane, not often, but I've seen it, and I worry about it at night.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Particular.
I think that'd be a great idea.
Have you heard of that practice being done before?
So my thought was for the next season, end of this year, technically. The delineators, we put them in permanently.
Yep,
And then so that way it creates the barrier
yep,
physically as well. So as even going through with the snow plow,
yeah,
it'll stack up on the delineators, but they won't, if it gets hit, it'll just fold over and we can replace them easy. The bases, we won't have to worry about as much popping off like they have
right.
been, during the summer.
Is there a different type of delineator
Yeah,
that you
that's what
wanna
I
look
was
at?
thinking. That's really,
If it's gonna be permanent,
Big on that.
a lot of people don't love the looks of those, and maybe there's something nicer if it's gonna be there all the time.
Why?
and really something that can take a lot of abuse, at least the base.
Yeah,
How are you gonna plow inside the? From the delineators over to the sidewalk?
Same way we do the sidewalks, with
Here's the
the
cat.
plow, with the skid steer. We have a V plow for it right now. We left a layer this past storm, just because there was ice underneath and we didn't want
Right.
to scrape it to ice again, so
Yep.
we left a bit of a layer for people
Yep.
to walk on.
yeah,
Same way we do the sidewalks.
yeah, I think that's a really good idea.
Will you have to take multiple passes down through to do that because they're wider? Than a sidewalk? The multi-use path is
push them
wider.
back, we try and push back the sidewalks as much as we can, they freeze pretty quickly.
No, I'm talking about the multi-use path.
Yep,
When you're
so,
plowing that,
yep,
that, let's say it goes from here to the wall.
There's
roughly,
6
so-
feet plus
Yeah.
2 feet,
Yeah, it's
plus 2 feet for the double line, right?
6 feet
No, they're
would be
they're
6
8
feet
feet,
here.
8 feet, 8 feet,
yeah.
8 and 2.
Okay, so 8 feet is about here.
yep, and the plow is 6 foot wide when it's fully open.
Okay,
That's fine.
so that would get the majority of it, because you're leaving the window
Okay.
and that will slope,
Yeah.
so that makes
Okay.
On
sense.
one side and on the other side.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I'm
think
fine with that.
we shouldn't make any decisions with respect to delineators right
Yeah,
now.
that's why.
I think we
just
should
figured
just try it and see how this works. It may or may not work well.
The only comment I've
Um,
heard is sometimes people struggle getting onto the sidewalk. If they're coming like across the street. And not at a crossroad, like I'm just thinking, okay, sometimes me, going from like
Like-
my place by Windsor, going through Windsor Hill,
Mhm.
getting onto that sidewalk in front of the school,
Mhm.
like. And I don't have trouble with it, but I've seen other people sort of like struggle getting their shoes.
To get up on the
grip
sidewalk,
Up over the little windrow,
Mhm.
especially if there's a car coming. If there's not a car coming, it's not a big deal. So I don't know if there's,
Man, crosswalks though.
well, I know, but so like.
But I
walking down-
understand what you're saying.
So I'm not sure if that's an issue. I've heard a couple of people comment on it. And maybe it's a matter of just education as well, that this is that it is intentional and here's why we're
Right,
playing with this idea. Just so,
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
my
say,
own
yeah,
observation.
certainly worth experimenting with the windrows this winter and see how it works. Then it doesn't have to be in all throughout the town. You could pick a section and
Yeah, absolutely. I just,
give it a shot.
No, I
I
think
was
it's
thinking
great.
about after
No,
seeing both
that's
multiple-
fine. Yeah, no, we're gonna have to
multiple
do
times,
something.
multi-use
Yeah,
ones.
we're gonna have to do something about that. That's,
Yeah.
that
On the
really came,
road that goes by the golf course there, I see people driving into the, cause
Yeah.
you come around the corner.
yeah,
And
no.
they'll
you-
take
you-
that
you
corner
swerve-
wide.
Right, and you go
and they'll
right
go
into the,
the
you
multi-use
go right
path.
into the
No, that was
multi-use path.
the main pushing point for doing it the way we did was Mark saying it to make it easier to clear in the winter, and I think there's been enough pushback that it's time to reevaluate, and I think that's a really awesome way to look at it. It's
Right,
just,
right.
we're learning and we're
They'll
going
just-
forward, and
right.
so, yes.
And they'll just make that.
When I
turn a
lived
little
in
bit tighter.
Montana, we had one in the middle as a lane separator. All over town, that's how they plowed the roads.
Hmm.
You had it right down the middle,
Mhm.
and then they would have an opening where they would clear it when you had to turn a corner. But that would keep you from sliding over into the
Other lane.
opposite
Yeah.
lane.
So, yeah, take a look at it.
Prevented a
see
lot of
what happens.
crashes.
Yeah,
actually.
I think it's a good idea.
All right.
Only other thing I heard about, was, the. I mean, it's a cross-country ski tour right now, but the lights on the village path
Mhm.
were on all day and off all night. Whenever the, power outages happened, they
Yeah.
kicked
They,
it off.
they,
the
Yeah.
they
schedule.
screw up
Yeah.
the,
Yeah.
But so, a few weeks ago, they did get fixed, so they're back
Okay.
on their appropriate schedule.
Good.
So everybody's.
Yeah,
Who
no,
fixes those?
We do.
Good.
Mhm.
Thank you.
but do you have to do that after every power outage?
We will have to check it, yes.
yeah, it's frequent, like,
Yeah, that's-
even with the lights on the bridge. There are
Right,
some mornings when I'm walking in at 5 and
they're all out of whack.
And I go,
I had the
Yeah,
same thing happen
that's-
at my
yeah.
house on my Christmas.
With
lights
all the
outside.
upgrades at the substation, hopefully we won't have.
Well, hopefully, but that
Oh,
speaks
geez.
towards a,
Yeah.
you know, more of a daily, check of things like that.
Hmm.
Lights on, off,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, and it's just after.
rather than waiting for someone to come and complain.
oh, yeah, right, after power outages.
Steve, rec and admin services, I guess you got both?
Yes. So I don't have an update from Brooke. She had to leave at
She
4
was
today.
here for a while.
Yeah. But I do have
Yeah.
an update on the ever so important search for our new town manager.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Alex Torpe, who we've contracted with to help us in this effort, gave us an update today. He says that thanks to the quick work by the select board, myself and him, the jobs all got posted on or around January 5th and January 6th to multiple municipal association websites, some social media sites that he's tied into, like LinkedIn, his Rethink local email list that he has. So the job's been out. We're happy to report that we have 11 what he considers viable applications. I have not seen them. I haven't seen the
Mhm.
resumes yet, but he is on track to keep that posting open until the 23rd.
Right,
And at which point thereafter, starting on Monday, I believe he's gonna start his phone screening
right,
process.
that's next Monday,
but
right?
the
Yeah.
posting will stay up, right, postings will
Yeah.
stay up.
The first round, as he
Right.
terms it, of
Yeah, right.
applicants will be
Right.
starting to phone screen
Right.
next week. Yep.
And I saw that he had been coordinating with Margaret at least a little bit on
Yeah.
this.
That's what he says. He's anticipating Margaret to join him on most, if not all, of those phone screen discussions.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then knock that 11 down to whatever, what is it, 4 or 5, something like that.
Sure, yep. And
Okay.
then interviews will commence thereafter.
At some point, when we get this whittled down to whatever small number it might be.
Mhm.
I think the board would like to see the resumes of the candidates.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, once we get, I
that's
think
what
we
I'm
were
saying,
working
yeah.
on 3, I think the top
Mhm.
3.
3, 4, whatever it might be,
Right.
like I said,
Absolutely.
I don't,
Yeah,
Maybe
Yeah.
all of them.
I
You
don't
guys should-
really care.
No, when we go to interview, we gotta have the resumes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I would recommend, regardless of how he feels the phone screens go, if he thinks 11 are viable, you may want to just look at all of the applications.
what viability really means.
Yeah,
yeah,
All right,
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
okay,
cool.
Give us more to read.
Yeah, just what you need.
Yeah.
It doesn't get.
Other than that, we you probably noticed that the water and sewer bills have mailed.
Yeah,
Do you have something?
I do, I have a problem with one. I need to talk to you afterwards.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Trying to stay afloat.
yep, no, and I see that the flyer was in it, so look fine.
Yep.
Yeah, on the STR, well, okay,
Like I mentioned, Kristen is gonna be on vacation, for the next week and a half or so, down in
So-
Barbados,
Seeing how she
hopefully not
feels.
any longer than
and
that.
let's see if she comes back, right?
So we are prepared, just.
Could come back earlier.
Yeah.
We had
she
a,
could.
we had a staff meeting, late last week to kind of just discuss what her absence is gonna do to administration and how Alicia, myself and Jamie, will be prepared to take on, some additional responsibility, especially this time with the, candidacy process being opened. Supervisors have some work to do as well, so I think we have it covered.
Cool.
You're
Good,
gonna be
well,
handing out all the placards, right?
she'll be,
Yeah, just add that.
she'll be relaxed and ready to go for town meeting.
That's
This
right.
is exactly how she explained it to me.
Yeah, well, that's how I choose to look at it, getting ready for town meeting, clearing the mind.
Getting that tan on.
Yeah, okay, anything else?
No, not unless you have something for me.
All right, calendar review, let's see, so tomorrow, you know, 5 o'clock. Planning board, public hearing continuation,
And their special meeting didn't make it on here.
8:30 special meeting.
yep,
Yep.
Did I miss it?
Nope.
nope, no, you're right, we didn't.
We missed that one,
So
sorry.
tomorrow morning, we meet here at 8:30. Then we have our regular meeting on the 4th. We're set up for the joint school board select board meeting on the 26th. 4 PM over at the school. And our annual budget and bond meeting is on the 10th over at the school at 6 PM. I think the school district meeting is on the day before, the 9th. We're still planning our informational session on the 11th at 6 PM at the gym. And the next planning board meeting's on the 12th of February, 8:30 here. Okay, anyone have anything to add to the calendar? Oh, well, we just added two
We added
meetings
two.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We added two
Yeah.
meetings.
Yeah.
On the 29th from 9 to 11-ish on road projects, and on the 3rd of February, also 9 to 11-ish on Boulder Path and Snows Mountain.
That's correct.
Got to add those two. I think Steve's already
Yep.
sent out the calendar invites.
Okay.
I don't see it here. We forgot to put on, Steve, before we get to non-public, any board concerns and directives.
Oops, you forgot that
I
one.
forgot that one, so we're not taking any board concerns and directives.
One thing, that hasn't been done is, the Pimmy Baker,
Yeah.
I have to be appointed as the select board.
I will
Rep.
move that Megan
So-
Dubar represent the select board at the Pemmy Baker Solid Waste
Waste District,
District,
I
yeah,
will second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right,
yes.
please get that recorded in the minutes.
Got you live.
Yeah,
Yep.
Okay.
okay. Anything else? Anybody have anything for concerns and directives?
I had
I had a couple, but I've forgotten them, so. I wrote
the
them down,
question
but
when
I-
she started talking.
It's only been 4.5 hours.
I know,
Come
I
on,
just
you're-
looked, it can wait. All right, no correspondence? Any correspondence? Steve?
No.
No, sir.
All right, does anybody have anything for non-public?
I don't at this point.
Okay. That should mean we are done.
Oh, I did have a question. I'm sorry. Where do we stand with respect to the town report? Can you give us a sense of that?
I think that Kristen has about 80% of the town report information she needs collected. I don't know what the 20% makeup is, Dan.
Okay.
But she is not concerned as she's leaving for vacation right now to
Is
get
it
it.
the warrant?
What's the date?
I mean.
Oh, that's part of it, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, that's, I would.
Yeah, we have,
Weight-wise, that
yeah,
would be more than 20%, but
Yeah,
it'd be volume.
we gotta give her
wise.
Volume wise, yeah.
yeah, we
If
gotta
it-
get
Page
that,
count
yeah,
wise.
we gotta,
Right.
we'll get that to her, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, that gets to what the drop dead date is for the publication of that thing.
Yes.
We gotta make sure, yeah, because we're not gonna have our.
He has
warrant-
it covered.
Yeah,
Wasn't
well,
she
we
gonna
have,
be
we
in
have to
everything
have
by
our
the
warrant
16th?
discussion,
Mhm.
make sure our warrant discussion is in time.
Yeah, we're gonna have that discussion before she returns from vacation,
Yeah,
so
We
we'll be
are?
okay.
Okay,
It's on the 4th. Right?
Well, that'll be the week she returns. Yeah.
She's returning that week.
No
Okay.
concerns.
All right,
okay,
okay.
okay,
That's-
thanks. I
Yeah.
just,
that's good. I mean, it's always a little bit of an issue with me that we're being, that's the tail wagging the dog. Because we have to print it, we have to get it out, all this stuff done out earlier than we normally would need
Yeah,
to hand out to people. But that's the printing schedule. We have talked in the past about not printing it.
sorry.
Really?
really?
There was one thing, should we have a discussion of the non-monetary warrant articles at our next? I think we should have that in advance well in advance of town meeting.
Oh, yeah.
I know we'll go through the monetary ones on the 10th. But I think we need to plan to go through and
Yeah.
discuss the non-monetary articles.
As
I don't
well.
know.
We're gonna do that on the
maybe-
4th? When we
Will we
discuss
have
all the
time?
warrant
Will
articles?
we
Well, we had all the zoning
We haven't
ones,
looked at them yet.
and
or
then we
discussed
had
them amongst
a couple from
ourselves.
the
but
ordinances,
do we
We
right?
have, yeah, 3 ordinances and then 14 or so zoning,
That's 17 plus all.
all
the
very
Yeah.
minor.
There's,
But the,
Plus all the money.
the zoning is almost pro forma.
Yeah,
yeah,
they really are.
no, it's not so much that, it's. Yeah.
Yeah.
The aerial rights
Yeah.
discussion.
Yes,
and that
yes.
warrant article. I
yes.
think we need to be able to really educate people as to
Right.
why we're putting things.
No,
in
no,
the
I'm not
warrant.
disagreeing.
Tax collector.
So do you want to have a
Tax
separate,
collector.
do you want to have a separate, our next meetings on, well, we have our meetings on other issues, we can plug them into one of those meetings potentially.
Our review, so we're ready to talk to the public on the 4th? Is that what you're saying, or?
Well, for us to discuss it, is what I'm
Right,
saying.
yes,
Right.
okay,
For us to discuss, because we will have to discuss it
yes.
with the public shortly afterward.
I could tack it on to one of the road meeting agendas.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, we can do that. We get to it. If not, we get to it the next, why don't you put it on the first one, on the 29th?
Okay.
And then, see how many we can roll through.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't think we
Just
have
the
a lot of
non-monetary ones?
controversy or a lot of discussion. We just need to,
Or do you wanna just
Go
do
through
as
'em.
many as we
Yeah.
can?
I don't think they're,
I just want to make sure we're all.
I mean,
familiar with it.
and we
with,
don't miss any.
in terms of,
Okay.
us discussing them, I think maybe we prioritize the non-monetary ones so that we're ready to really highlight those
Yeah,
to the.
okay,
general
I
public.
agree, do those.
But then,
yeah.
but still, it'd be nice to work through all of them. But, yeah, prioritize the non-monetary.
So let's do the non-monetary, get those out of the way and then
Yeah.
circle back and.
And
go
then
through
be
the
able to review
monetary.
those with the public and really push for the public to come on the 4th if they have questions about it.
Right. Okay,
Does
Sure.
that make sense?
makes a lot of sense.
I got it.
So we do it on the 29th, and we can have potentially do it again, or at least I think we need to on the 3rd.
Yeah.
Even though it's the day before the 4th, at least
Right.
it's the morning of the 3rd, so.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
sounds good. Anybody have anything else? Other than, would anyone like to make a motion?
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
I